to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mulus on the forum.
This is Parker. Go by Tweak on forums.
This is Jeremy, and humans are dead to me on the forums.
Oh yeah. I was expecting an OnlyFans address. Like, is this your OnlyFans?
My OnlyFans already know what my OnlyFans address is.
Parker's Tweak on OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
Mm.
And
Are you selling that bathwater, Parker?
Nope. It's
Not yet.
That's for you.
It's for me.
You keeping that bathwater?
Mm-hmm. It's right here.
It's right
Alrighty.
here in a jar.
All right, we do have a quick announcement. Parker is back on a probationary period. So we'll see how things go.
I didn't vote on this.
More well behaved than last time.
I did not
apparently.
vote on this.
Oh, email me your vote real quick, Parker.
Check
Hold
it.
on, we might not need you.
I voted he's back.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. That's fast.
If you're voting for Parker to stay, just tell me. If not, message me privately. That way he won't know what your vote was.
2 thumbs down.
All right, Parker, you want to read the news?
News.
News.
Okay.
News.
So this is some belated news. Apparently, this show's gone real downhill in my absence. You guys did not get all the news done, but it's okay. I'm here
We
for
just simply did not rate it as worthy of talking
right.
about.
So that's true. Although it's kind of nice to poop on all these cards. These cards are nice for me to poop on. Domino and Cable Tactics cards were spoiled on the Atomic Mass Games website. So we got 3. One of them is a reprint, and 2 are new X-Force cards. Recalibration Matrix has been reprinted. Little side, I love the art for it, which is Domino rolling dice like the dice are hitting a craps table. I love it.
Mhm.
It's like perfect.
I was
art.
actually about to complain that it was fucking dumb, and then I noticed the dice behind the text. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I really like that it's dice being re-rolled by exactly Domino. So the new X-Force card, Dirty Work. It text might as well read "do nothing" and be frustrated, but it says actually.
Oh, you do something. Oh,
Yeah.
you do something.
Yeah.
It does something. It spends 3 power.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does
That's
blow
what it
3
does.
power into the air. Okay, an allied X-Force character can spend 3 power to play this card. You mark an enemy character with the highest threat value. If the marked character is dangerous or KO'd this round by an allied X-Force character, all allied X-Force characters gain 2 power, including the allied X-Force character that spent the 3 power. If there is a tie for the highest threat value, you get to choose one. So it is rangeless, and you get to pick somebody with high threat value, the highest on the opponents, and then one of your X-Force allies has to kill them or daze them.
This is like a Usurp the Throne clone, right? Like, that's the same concept as Usurp the Throne. You don't get to pick who it is unless there's multiple tied people for the highest. But this costs 3 power so that you can give 2 power out to all the X-Force people? This is bad.
Yeah.
You don't
Like,
even get
really
bonus.
bad.
You don't even get like extra dice. You get no re-rolls. You get
Yeah.
nothing. You get a hot steaming pile. Oh my god.
I don't understand. Like, this should be like cost 1 or 0 and give 2 power to everybody, or it should be like get 2 victory points or something. Like, it should be better than this. This is bad. Now it's an active card, but it doesn't have to be played during the character's activation. So I could see, like, maybe you've got Bob in the back and it's obvious that he doesn't need the power, so he can spend the power for Dirty Work to try and give power to other people. But it just...
Is this card
I
really
don't
taking up
see it
1 of
working.
5? Is this card taking
no
up
way.
1 of 5?
No way this is...
Are you fucking kidding
And
me?
I said this to Jeremy in the pre-ramble, that this isn't even good in limited format. Like, if you're only using the, like, X-Men symbol forward, it's still not good. Like, it doesn't even make your 8, right? Like, how is this good? Unless there's a lot we don't know yet. Like, if there's another card that super combos with this, or there's a character that's perfect for it, which is like, I don't see their characters don't seem so power hungry that this is the only way they function.
Wait, I think I had... Okay. Is X-Force's ability to play tactics cards without spending power? Wait.
Would that make this card good?
No.
If this card costs
but
0, would that be
it
a
would-
good card?
At least would make sense.
Yeah.
What if it just said choose an enemy character, all X-Force allies gain 2 power? Like, would that be good?
Maybe.
Like, where's the line on this? It's so far south of where they put it.
Yeah.
Oof.
If it was all allied characters get power, and it was just they're KO'd ever, like if it's just a permanent effect for 3 power, from now on, as soon as this character gets dazed or KO'd, everyone on my team gets 2 power, I could see that being good.
Mm-hmm.
But this is way too restrictive. You have to play it with an X-Force ally, you have to kill them with an X-Force ally, and only X-Force allies gain the power. And you have to do it this turn, and it has to be the highest threat value character, and it costs 3 power during your action. Like, what the fuck? That's way too restrictive.
One of the things that I don't like, I don't think it's very, the flavor makes sense, right? X-Force is supposed to be like a Black Ops assassination for the
Yeah.
X-Men affiliated thing. But I actually really like the idea of making it like it's a permanent like mark. I really like that idea. But it's not. It's like you have to mark them, kill them immediately, and get the benefit of that. And the benefit is
I
not
feel
that
like
great.
this card is misprinted. Like, I really do. I feel like this shouldn't be... I assume it is, but I don't think this should be the final text. I could see someone as being screwed up and posted this incorrectly, but I think they would have said something by now. It's been over a week at this point. This card is going to be real bad. If it said gain 2 victory points, I'd be on board because there's not many things that do that. But like Usurp the Throne is way better than this.
Yeah.
Way better. Like how this is not good.
If it added
What if
on,
it's-
if it added on a couple victory points, I would give it merit. I would say, okay, this card has some value. Currently, I don't understand it at all. I don't get it.
The fact that you have to
Yeah.
spend 3 power to make it happen also is really weird. Like it costs the one character who did it 1 power to give other characters 2 powers if you make
It's
this
still negative power.
if you make this ridiculous chain of events occur. Like that's yeah.
It's real bad. Anyway, this card could have been really cool. Like, what if it was same cost, same triggers, but like you gain a victory point per X-Force character that dealt damage to that character. Like, if it was like we're going to combine to kill this person, but we're going to get extra victory points, or like it should. There's no way spending 3 to gain 2 on X-Force allies is worth the value. That's just not good.
Yeah.
No, I don't see how this is valuable. I don't get it.
And all the other cards that manipulate power from one character to another are good because they happen early. This is not going to happen early.
Right.
This is the opposite of our advanced R&D. You can't do it turn 1. You can't even do it turn 2. You probably can't even do it turn 3. Because it's going to be probably the hardest character to kill. It's going to cost you 3 power, and you're still going to have to have enough resources to finish the job after you do it. Like, earliest I see this happening is turn 3, in which case, how is power a problem for you?
Right.
It just, in the return, like 2 power on each person is good, but it's not like crazy good.
No.
This is way too hard to pull off.
For nothing also. On top
What
of
is
that,
the-
also
Yeah.
nothing.
What is the Black Order card? Like Blood to Spare? Is that the one where you explode
Yeah.
one of your guys?
Yeah, you kill one of your guys, give 3 power to everybody, but they have to be injured, I believe. I will double check. Hold on.
So at least that has some value. Like if you've got a Bob or a 2-point character that's really not doing anything and you need to kind of like move the needle, like that's something. Like you're like, okay, that's something.
Yeah.
This, I
Here's
just don't understand.
Here's the example of a card that doesn't get played. Choose an injured allied character to play this card. Other allied characters gain 3 power. The chosen character is KO'd. So that obviously has a big cost, but you can play it after they've activated when they're injured. Like, their value to your list after they're injured and activated is pretty low. Very, very not happy with this card. This is the worst card that we've seen printed in a while. Honestly, I think this is almost as bad as To Me My X-Men. It's in that realm. Both of them are not good.
At least that card
To
has
Me My
value.
X-Men is probably better than this one.
I understand
Yes.
what To Me My X-Men's doing. I get that.
Well, I understand what this is doing, but I just don't know that the value is there. But this
Well-
does stuff that you can't normally do, at least.
How often
Like-
have you tried to kill a guy and you're like, okay, this will happen for
Yeah,
sure.
come up short.
And
Yeah.
nothing happens.
It doesn't help you kill them.
You spend
It
3.
just announces to your opponent that you're trying.
Yeah.
That's all it does.
You spend
3 power to let your opponent know what your plan is.
for nothing.
Also, and then let's say you do it. Let's say you got it. Yeah, I killed him, and then you get 2 power on 3 of your characters. Like, yeah. Like, what is that doing for you? Like, how does that help you win the game?
There's only 4 characters in X-Force right now.
Right.
Like, what is it? I think we did the math. It's 14 points for the characters, right? Because it's 5, 2, 3, 3, right? 13 points, right? 11. Yeah, 13 points for the 4. So if Wolverine is in X-Force like we're expecting him to be, then you'll be able to take all 5 of them at 17 points. So you're potentially netting 7 power. I don't know. Still doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah, okay. Ta-da.
Because none of those characters generate extra power, really. Like, not a lot. I guess Domino could play it fairly easily.
Domino's
Domino
busy.
wants power. Why
Yeah,
would
she
you
wants
want her
power.
to spend 3?
No. She's turning crits and she's turning skulls into crits, man.
Yeah.
She's spending all of her power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see it. This seems bad. Let's move on.
Let it die.
Next X-Force, Cat and Mouse. It's a reactive card. After all characters have been deployed, an X-Force character may play this card. Place this character within 2 of its current position. This character cannot make more than 1 move action during its next activation. This is one of those cards that, as I was reading it, as soon as I was reading it, I was like, ooh, and then I read the last sentence and I went, oh. like, ooh, making moves. Wait, maybe not so much.
So this is actually useful, though.
Yeah.
Like, this has value.
Cable's got a range 5 gun, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's a legit
Yeah.
card.
Range 5 gun, and he's already slow.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Domino speed long?
No, she's medium.
I can't remember.
She's medium.
She's medium? Maybe it was just all the Hydra chicks were speed long.
I think it's just this card is absolutely designed for Cable. He's got body slide by 1, so he moves up, and then he moves up again, and he shoots whatever target he wants twice. Like, right? Like,
well, I don't think you need to body slide by 1.
No,
Like,
maybe not.
You can just place and shoot people.
Sure.
Mhm.
But I mean, he has so much movement without being movement. Like, this card's kind of his card. I don't know where else you'd use it.
Yeah, I feel like you could get the same thing done by just playing or using body slide by 1.
Mhm.
I was thinking something more objective based, because this doesn't cost power, and it played by an X-Force ally.
Yeah, I mean, who are you putting in X-Force? I mean, Angela?
No, you have to play it with an X-Force.
It has to be an X-Force character, not ally.
And
not ally.
Cable gets Cable.
Character. It has to be an X-Force character.
It has to be an X-Force ally. You can't play it with enemy characters.
No, I'm saying after all characters, an X-Force character. It cannot be. When you say X-Force ally, you mean like any. You mean somebody with the X-Force.
I mean a
team
character
tag.
with the X-Force tag and as an ally.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yep, go for it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying unaffiliated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if not, then you could do like Valkyrie could be placed and then move and hired muscle and then be in a better spot maybe. But my initial thought was, hey, you could place forward, move, grab an objective, and back up. But then you can't do that because you can only move once during next activation. Yeah, I think this is just an attempt at getting your people into range faster. Now, not everyone has a range 5 gun, so maybe this is useful with the other guys. Like, Deadpool kind of wants to get into the mix, right? So,
I guess. I don't know. I just see it as a Deadpool. He wants to double tap. Or not Deadpool. Cable wants to tap twice. And, like, I mean, and 2 isn't that far, and I'm not sure why they put the restriction. With all the movement that's in the game, and like that's taking up a tactic slot, like does that really replace like the other movement cards? I just can't imagine. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. This might have a specific interaction later on, like Advanced R&D does. Like Advanced R&D is just there to make other things work. I think that's what this is. You could cat and mouse Bob. Doesn't cost power. Bob places forward and gets the rocket launcher turn 1.
Yeah.
It's just range 2 is not that far, and putting the extra restriction of 1 move action on it just seems okay. This seems like a mediocre card. It's going to have value in very specific situations and none outside of them.
So yep.
Anyway,
That's the X-Force
I think
card.
that's our thoughts on these guys.
All right, hold on to your butts. It's Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Jesus!
Iron Fist card is here. We know what he does. I'm so pumped.
Do we though?
All right. So Iron Fist is amazing, but amongst other things, he is a 3-cost character. He's got 5 health on both sides. He's 3 defenses across the board, movement medium on both sides. He has an energy basic, which I love. It's 5 dice, range 2, energy type attack, and he has a wild stun on it. He also has a range 3
solid basic attack.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong basic attack for a 3-cost character.
Solid. I don't know if I call it strong.
I think it's strong. Strong basic attack. Flying kick is another 0-cost attack he has. He does gain a power for it, and it's a range 3, 4 dice. After the attack is resolved, place the character within 1 of the target. Flying kick. And then, of course, the Iron Fist. The Iron Fist is an 8-cost attack that rolls 9 dice. Before damage is dealt, other enemy characters within range 3 of the target character suffer a damage. Before damage is dealt, if the target character has an activated token, it gains the stagger special condition and is thrown short. If the target character does not have an activated token, it gains an activated token. So I think we should. I want to stop here. After listening to those attacks, Jeezum.
Okay.
Jeezum.
So yeah, they clearly wanted to make Iron Fist big attack be a big deal, which I think they did a good job. It feels like a scary attack. Primarily the activated token for me, gaining stagger and activated potentially. It's gonna make him a very win big lose big character though. I think. It's all going to be about can you land the Iron Fist attack at the right time? Because if you don't get priority from your opponent, then it's going to be really hard to leverage that properly because they're just going to activate who's near him first, right?
Well, if the target's already activated, they gain stagger, so it's not going to get like he gets nothing for it because they get thrown. If they've already activated, he throws them and staggers them.
All right, so it doesn't do both. It just does one or the other.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that's not as good as I thought. I was just thinking it did both.
No. It only if they have not activated yet, they get stunned. Sorry, if they're not activated yet, they get staggered and thrown.
Okay.
I find again, I think you got it, Brandon, with the lose big, win big. I don't like character cards who don't have anything to do with their power. And this guy has that, aside from save it all up until later. I hate that. Like, because
what?
I don't, just to me, like he just saves it up. Because he doesn't have, he doesn't have any other spenders. He just has the big gnarly one.
His only energy out, or his only power output is the Iron Fist. But I do like that because you don't feel punished for saving it. It's where like Ultron has to save his power, but he actually can do other stuff. And so you feel like you're wasting it. I think he has a pretty good kit designed around not spending power, though. He has a good non-spending range attack. He has a good non-spending attack. The problem is he has this, like, he basically has the, like, 2 values. There's the 8 power Iron Fist value, and there's the anything less than 8 power Iron Fist value. And they're very different. And so that's the problem for him, is that, like, the majority of the game, he will be meh, and the rest of the game, he'll be scary. And so I think it's a good spot for a 3-point character.
I mean, so if we're going to talk about 3-point characters and where he's at with it, like the rest of his card is important because, again, he gets free power. So he gets 2 power because of his other ability. And then the bottom of his card, instead of range 2, he gets blanks within range 3 for defense. That's a big ass deal.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, though, a lot of those martial artists have stealth and he doesn't. So that is a noticeable exception.
Which is almost a trap. Like, okay, shoot at him, that's fine. Do something to him, that's fine.
I think I love how he, and we'll talk about Luke Cage in a second, they're both 3 power. It lets you slide into a defender's list with Doc Strange and with some stones very easily, a lot of power levels. And he's going to be...
This is what they needed. They needed cheap 3-pointers that were good.
And he is such a great value for 3 points in a defender's list with Doctor Strange. Imagine that you need to kill Iron Fist because he's about to do his thing. And you're like, oh, no, for the next couple attacks, I'm going to be 5 defense unless you hit me with Mystical. And because you're within range 3, I'm going to get blanks. And if you don't dead me, I'm going to get healed. Like, there's so... Also, Wong gives you power every turn, so he's going a little bit faster. Immortal Weapon, his passive gives him extra power every turn. He can actually get to 8 power pretty quick. After one good Chi Strike and some help from Wong, he could, have 8 power.
Yeah, but I mean, then you're talking about really a 5-point character if he's just getting batteried by Wong the whole
Right,
time.
but Wong's likely in your list usually also. I'm saying it's not a horrible place to put Wong's power. He's usually fine. Wong, when I played him in the past, it's usually he has somebody he's planning on giving power to, and if it's not Strange, Iron Fist is strong.
Well, I think it has to be Strange. Strange is too important to the list, I think, if you're just playing defenders.
Right.
I don't think throwing the odd powered Iron Fist is a bad idea,
Right.
but I don't know that Strange and Iron Fist are really going to be standing together either.
That's
though.
true.
Like the problem that the defenders have is not being able to spread out already.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just putting another guy in there that's going to stand next to Strange, then you're not really fixing the problem.
Also, you got Vapors helping Iron Fist. You've also got the teleporting, making sure he stays, away from a dangerous fight until he's ready to use the Iron Fist. And then I think he's also got, like you said, really, really strong basic attacks. I think above curve. I don't want to say like amazing basic attacks, but his basic attacks are both above curve. A wild stun and a ranged attack
they're above curve for a 3-point character.
Yeah. I really like that he feels like exactly what I wanted, which is, a martial arts master who hits when he hits with the Iron Fist. It's a goddamn truck. That's what it is. I like it a lot.
I think he fits in. I think he makes an incredible Inhuman because with that stupid dog and the ability to move power onto him with every activation you can make him hit that his big attack on turn 2 and place him right next to somebody. Like he can kind of be where he needs to be and have 8 power pretty quickly.
Wow, it's almost like an amazingly undercosted support model is good.
Yeah, I think that it's cool that this model, it's good in a weird way. It's a really cool space that they've created. It's not like a neutral, like the next model we're about to talk about, I feel like is kind of in a different space where this guy can be really good, or maybe he won't do anything. He fits in all kinds of different things. 3-point model, it's really cool.
I think this model is going to be a lot like Hulk, I think. You're going to have the games where people either don't have the tools or knowledge to deal with him, and they'll feel like he's overpowered. And then the games where your opponent does have the tools or knowledge to deal with him, you're going to feel like he's underpowered. I feel like that's my biggest problem with Iron Fist. I think he's a good balance point. I think he's going to be a good release, and I actually see myself playing with him in the future. I think he's good. I think this is exactly where a lot of people should be in the game. And so I'm very happy with how he came out. But I'm just saying that don't think that Iron Fist is going to be like the fulcrum of games once people understand how he works.
Yeah.
But I do like him.
I'm just really glad that I've spent the last 14 months putting Sucker in my top 8 cards. And now I finally have a use for it. I've been waiting for Iron Fist.
Wow.
And you'll get that 8 power, and I'm gonna ruin it. It's gonna be bad.
How you gonna do that in the middle of his activation, are you?
Yes, sir. I will.
Sucker is still terrible.
Ghost Rider's gonna go and ruin this motherfucker's day.
Yeah. So biggest problems for Iron Fist, just quick before we move on. People that control him are going to be real rough on him because he doesn't have action economy at all. He has the ability to place himself if you're within 3. But he needs 2 actions to do that. So like staggering him or walking him out of range or throwing him out of range. Like anything that you can do to just delay him basically is incredibly punishing to him. And so he has to be careful for stuff like that. And because if you look at his card, he has 0 defense outside of martial artists, which doesn't work against some damage types or outside of certain ranges. So he needs to be really careful of that. Mm-hmm. Those are his obvious 2 crippling points, is if you have the way to attack him that bypasses his defenses, he just crumbles. And also if you can just lock him down and ignore him, he just kind of sits there. But yeah, you have to do those things or else he's going to see value. So that's good.
Yeah.
I think I forgot to mention how much I don't like his model still. So there's that.
I love that he's just doing one-handed pull-ups, just repeated one-handed pull-ups off of the snake dragon thing. All right.
By the way, I love.
You realize you don't have to put him on that, right? Like you could just not put him on that. And
So he's
not
like
cry
sitting?
about it.
Like, how does that work?
You just put him on like a flight stand. He's like doing a jump
Yeah.
or something. It doesn't matter.
God.
By the way, I love his card art on the back. That is so cool. His card art on the back of the Iron Fist card, so awesome.
Oh, I just closed it. Hold on, let me open it.
I love that.
Yeah, I guess it's okay.
I love it. I love that Iron Fist look. All right.
I'll give it a solid 3 pizza rolls.
Yeah. All right.
4 Pop-Tarts.
All right. Luke.
All right, let's talk about the actual good model of this.
Right. Luke Cage. He is a 3-pointer. And man, what a 3-pointer. He's got 6 health on the front of the side, 5 health at the back. His 4 physical defense, 3 energy, and 3 mystic. He's got a movement of medium. Power Man Punch. They mentioned Power Man, even though his name is Luke Cage.
Shut up.
They put Power Man on the card.
Shut up.
It's a range 2 5 dice, one that gives you power. It has a double wild. It does stagger on his basic, even though it is a double wild, and which is very hard to do. And then of course I love the name of the second. The second attack is Sweet Christmas. It is a 7-die attack, costs 4. It has range 3, however. It has wild throw. If the target is size 3 or less, they can be thrown medium. That's a pretty large throw if they're size 3 or less. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains slow and stun special conditions. So, robust attack and stats. You guys want me to discuss his special rules too?
Hold on. Is it a throw medium?
Yeah, that's what I see.
No. It's like
It's
a throw
too fuzzy
short.
on my screen to tell.
It's like a throw short. He
It
does
looks like
a
throw short to me.
Oh,
it's short
is
and
it?
short.
It looks like an M. It's fuzzy. Oh, you're right. I think it is.
It is.
I think it
That's
is
the
an S.
problem.
I think it's a short.
Yeah, he does short and short. It's
Yeah.
like short and then
Yeah.
short.
Yep, you are correct.
Throw mediums are rare, which is why I pointed
Okay,
that out.
good.
So yeah, for a 3-point model, very solid attacks. I doubt he'll be doing Sweet Christmas very often,
Mhm.
but just the threat of having a stagger potentially pop up on a basic attack by a defensive model is really frustrating. And he'll probably get the opportunity to attack enough times to actually see a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like these. These are both solid. This is pretty much what you want to see from generic physical attackers. So go on.
He has a throw called Street Fighter. Interactive terrain feature of size 2 or less. He can throw it short. It costs 2 power. And then he's got 2 dangers to ignore, which is 2 power. It's with an enemy character within 2 inches of this character targets another ally with an attack. He may use a superpower. Then he becomes the target of the attack. So it's a lot like it's Black Dwarf's version of Protector.
It is literally Black Dwarfs.
Yep.
But you said 2 inches.
And-
It's range 2.
Yeah, it's range 2.
There's no inches.
Oh, did I say 2 inches? Look at me.
You said 2 inches.
He also has passive. When he would suffer damage from an enemy effect, reduce the amount of damage suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1. So he's got invulnerable. His is called Unbreakable Skin, because of course it is. And he's immune to bleed.
Yeah,
Finally, a
just
character
generic-
immune to bleed.
Generic damage reduction. Hey, there's characters immune to bleed.
I know that was the joke. A lot of characters are immune. To
Ultron.
Ultron. Not that many, actually. I don't think Iron Man is. I think it's just Ultron.
bleed. Vision, right?
Vision, probably.
Is Vision immune to bleed?
And
I mean,
Nebula,
it
I
would not
believe.
surprise me.
I believe Vision and Nebula are both immune to bleed. I believe.
Well, they don't leak oil or something?
Nope. Can't
Nope.
bleed oil.
Loki-
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah, Vision is immune. Nebula is immune to, wow, poison, stun, and bleed.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so I'm pretty happy with him. I think he's like pretty much exactly what we wanted. I will say, though, I was surprised that we didn't get an actual, bodyguard type rule from Luke Cage. It seems like they don't want to give people with damage reduction actual bodyguard, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's kind of like a play style force of hand, I guess, where they want you to get him in people's faces to kind of restrict their ability to target other people.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this is another way to allow your list to spread out a little bit more, because he doesn't have to be right in their freaking pocket to protect them, which is nice.
Right.
And also, it is easier to counter because they can just move away from Luke Cage, but a lot of the time, that's just as punishing to basically make them lose an attack to be able to target you.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
I'm actually really excited for. They're going to have tactics cards, maybe more than one, probably 2.
Nah, it's probably 0.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see some tactics cards. To maybe get Luke Cage some movement or something. That'd be cool.
There's got to be a Heroes for Hire card, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there? Did they
There
already
is.
make one? Did we just forget?
We haven't talked. There is one out. Yeah,
What?
I've heard it talked about. It's out there.
Hmm.
We're just behind on the news.
I don't see it on the database.
It's somewhere.
I want to say we had talked about this.
It has
me
something to
scroll.
do with like jump in front of something or movement or something or other. I've heard about it.
It sounds familiar. It's just been a bit.
I'm looking at.
Yeah, because I know.
I'm looking at their like panel to play stuff. I see nothing. Yeah, there's nothing in here.
It definitely is out there,
Yeah, I want to say that sounds familiar.
and it's called Heroes for Hire.
I usually post everything in. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Heroes for Hire. I'll just read it real quick. It's an unaffiliated reactive card. When an allied character is targeted by an attack that is within range 3 of an allied Luke Cage or an allied Iron Fist, the character may spend 2 power to play this card. Place the allied Luke Cage or Iron Fist that is within 3 of the allied character within 1 of said allied character. The placed character becomes the target of the attack after the attack is resolved. If the placed character is not dazed, the attacking character is size 3 or less. The placed character may throw the attacking character away short. So it's Lethal Protector, but for those two. Instead of getting the so many snacks attack, you get to throw them, which is pretty cool. That's actually really good. So that's going to get played all the time.
Yeah.
Yep, you'll get thrown outside of the attack, and they'll basically get staggered or whatever. They'll lose an attack. They'll have to move back in or whatever.
Also, something to keep in mind, because we've been talking about these guys in Defenders. The attack types isn't nearly as important because if you're in Defenders, you can change your attack type. And so, like, Luke Cage could change his to Mystic if he wanted to, or Energy. And then also, I believe the attack causes Hexed when you do that, which makes them not roll critical bonus dice. So that's nothing, pretty cool. It's if the attack deals damage, they suffer Hexed, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, you've got 2 solid Defenders that came out that are 3 points. That's never bad. Like that's never bad.
Almost like if these came out 6 months ago, the Defenders faction would actually be being played.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how this random release cycle of we're going to go a little bit here, a little bit there, and let's kind of like sprinkle it in has like made it to where some factions have kind of been forgotten, like Spider Foes and Defenders and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm curious if this was their original intent with the release cycle, or if it was supposed to be much more focused, and
God
just
knows.
wasn't able to be so because of the pandemic. Like, who knows? Like, hey, when are Luke Cage and Iron Fist coming in? Oh, well, they were scheduled 3 months ago, but we're still not expecting them for 6 more months. And you're like, like, who knows? Like, when these were supposed to come out. All right, well, I think we're done with these guys, right? I'm pretty happy with both of them. I think that whole box looks like it's going to be a good release.
It's hard to be upset about a 3-point model. It really is. Like, a lot of times that's all you need.
Watch me.
I know.
Alrighty, so that's going to take us to our main topic today. We're going to try and finish rating the rest of the character-specific tactics cards. So, with no further ado, Parker, why don't you tell me about the best card in the game?
Well-laid plans. It is a Green Goblin Dr. Octopus only card. They both have to spend 3 to play it. You roll 5 dice for each enemy character holding an objective token. The enemy character suffers 1 damage for all crits and wild results. A character damaged in this way drops all objective tokens it is currently holding. The player playing this card chooses the order in which enemy characters are affected.
Man, it's funny how time affects the way you look at cards. Now all I can think about is trying to play this with Sin and like getting more things that screw people for having objectives. Because it's unaffiliated. Like when this came out, we basically viewed it as the Spider Foes card, but it's still unaffiliated. They don't have an affiliation card. So yeah, now I'm like, man, could you play Green Goblin and Doc Ock in Cabal with Sin?
I did it. I played them with Red Skull. I liked it a lot.
I was playing Bad List before it was cool. Like, yeah, sure you can.
I actually really like Green Goblin. Doc Ock is mediocre, but I really like Green Goblin actually.
When this card came out, it was the only card at the time that allowed you to puke up objectives.
Yeah.
So it was hot. Now, with the ability in the cards that are out, I see very little use for this.
Ooh, I don't know.
Really?
This is like, keep in mind that it's better than counterattack, and it affects all enemies with tokens. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
I think
because I mean,
it's a big.
If you're playing scenarios that have five extract tokens, which there's several, that's actually pretty strong. Like if you're hitting 3 enemies, you're rolling 15 dice against enemy models. Because keep in mind, this doesn't have to be during their activations. You can do this right before the turn ends.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you cost them 1 victory point, if there was a card that said spend 6 power to make your opponent lose a victory point, that would be technically useful. And it does damage. Like I think this is pretty cool. I don't think it's game breaking, but like it's interesting. I want to see more cards with stuff like this where it's like, yeah, it's hard to pull off, but it actually is useful. Like it creates situations in game you want.
Yeah, I mean, if you were able to grab the extract that you wanted, and so I mean, you're going to get what, 3 probably. Like they'll probably be holding 3, and you'll be holding 2 when you do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be able to get some like chip damage off, and maybe get them to drop something. But for a tactics card slot, I don't know.
It's because you can look at it. What if they have the power core and it's like really like, okay, Thanos walks up and takes the power core. And you're like, all right, cool. I play this card. He drops it and takes 2 damage. You're like,
yeah.
And then you just pick it up and walk away. And you're like, now what? He's like, I don't know. Like that was kind of my plan.
It is a really amazing swing card when it is an amazing swing card. When
it is situational.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this, I don't know.
I can tell you,
again, Jeremy doesn't like it.
You spend 6 to do nothing sometimes. I mean, I hate Texas cards like that.
It's pretty unlikely you spend 6 to do nothing, even with not great rolls.
I think
if you're playing it when there's only 1 token that your opponent has, then I think you're kind of in a bad spot anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one really big problem with this card, which is you have to spend a tactics card, and then you also have to spend a roster slot, and you have to play Dr. Octopus. I really don't like Dr. Octopus.
You keep saying that, but everyone I hear that plays Doc actually thinks he's pretty good.
I just find him to be
I think
so
people just
unappealing.
want him to be more than he is.
He's got a range 3 throw. I mean, he's legit. Range 3 throws are stupid. Almost nobody has that.
I don't think he's a bad character. I just the fact that in order to play this card, kind of like what you were saying, Jeremy. In order to play this card, you've got to play 6 power. It may not work, and you also have to pay 2 characters. Maybe if we find out that Spider Foes has some other stuff. I think when Carnage and Shadowcat and Mysterio and Lizard come out, I think this will become a main conversation again, because you can play them in your Spider Foes. But right now, since you're basically playing Green Goblin and Doc Ock in your other list in order to make well-laid plans occur. That might be too much of an opportunity cost. Might be.
In your other list? What do you mean?
Meaning you're trying to put them into Cabal probably, but you're probably putting them in Cabal or Avengers or whatever faction you're playing. You're putting them in that usually. So usually it's 3 members of another faction, and you're playing Doc Ock.
Oh, you're saying because Spider Foes isn't fully released yet that
yes.
You're not playing them in Spider Foes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that train of thought. I don't think it's fair to say, well, this card isn't good because their models aren't released yet. It's not like if we were in this state where it's like, yeah, Spider Foes are never getting anything new, then yeah, this would be completely trash. But
and I
think it's pretty obvious they're getting stuff.
Well, you also started the conversation with when this originally came out, we were really impressed, and now we're less impressed. I think this has got a weird curve of appeal to it, because it started off as, oh man, look what you could do with these 2 characters, and now it's kind of like it's really low value because the faction is right now is low value, and I think this card and this faction is going to have an upswing as soon as we get 4 more characters, Kraven, Lizard, we're going to get. Yeah, 4 characters all of a sudden. Carnage, Kraven, Shadowcat, Lizard, all of a sudden.
Plus a bunch of cards, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is clearly one of the worst times to rate this card. Maybe 3 weeks ago would have been worse because we wouldn't have known about Kraven and Lizard. But I think this card, it's hard to give it a fair rating at the moment because we don't know what the faction looks like, because we don't know what half the faction does.
Right.
That being said, well, I guess we know what 2 of the 4 do, but I think this is a lot of value because it gives you something to do that isn't bad. Like, this is better than Web Barrier because it does something. This actually does something you want to do in every game. You want your opponent to not get control points, and you want to deal damage to your enemy. Those are two things you always want to do in every game. And Jeremy doesn't like the card for some reason. Parker doesn't like Doc Ock. I get that, but like I think the card has some value. I don't think it's crazy, but I think it's an interesting card. I want to see stuff like this in the game because this is clearly like subtly designed to counter Web Warriors because that's what they do, is steal the stuff and run away from you. And so this is like just so wonderfully written into the faction that they have a card like this that can get them back in that game. I love that you can play it as like the last activation of the turn so they don't have an opportunity to pick up the tokens again. I love that about this card.
Yeah.
So let's give ratings. I think it's me, Jeremy, Parker, right? All right. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10.
I'll give it a 4 out of 10 as well. I don't mind that. I think it's interesting.
Never mind. I'm going to go with a 9. 9. Changing it. 9. Just kidding. Now I got Jeremy to come up to a 4.
I'm at a 4. I didn't come up.
I know. Parker, what do you
I was
got?
actually going to say a 5 because I think it's the definition of like I think about half of your games it's going to feel amazing and the other half it's going to feel very useless. I think it's like it's on literally on that 50-50.
I like that. That's a good argument. All right, so average is 4. Moving on. Parker, hit us.
All right. We Are Groot. We Are Groot is an unaffiliated active card. Groot can spend 3 power, and he and allied characters within 4 of him all remove 2 damage. Really simple card.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this card played, and I was pretty excited about it when it came out. Jeremy?
Man, it seems like a great card, right? But at the end of the day, because of what Groot does, you usually don't give a shit about it. Like, you're controlling what needs to be controlled, or the models are dazed already, and you're like, oh shit! So, like, I don't know that it's good.
I know there's been times I've been playing against Groot where I'm like, man, I'm glad he doesn't have We Are Groot. But it's never been, like, super, super important. How about this? There's been a lot of times I've done, like, 2 damage to Rocket and he just didn't die, and We Are Groot just healing Rocket might have been worth it. I think this card is underrated. Part of the problem is people jump ship on Guardians real fast. And oddly, I think the reason for it was so many people were playing Guardians. So, like, we showed up and 4 of the 8 people were playing Guardians. And then, like, a month later, nobody was playing Guardians. Because everyone wanted to move to another faction, so they weren't playing what other people were playing. And they just all moved. And I was like, oh, okay. And then because new stuff's been coming out, nobody's really gone back. I do think Guardians have kind of aged a bit. They're not as powerful as they once were because there's more characters. So, like, the potency of their cheap characters is wearing off.
I think they're in a difficult spot because Wakanda also has cheap characters, and their shit is like legit.
All right, so what do we think on this? I'm gonna go with 4 again.
I don't see any reason to argue with a 4. 4's fine.
It's like the Switzerland of ratings. It's like, how do you argue against a 4?
Yeah. I was actually going to say a 3 because of what you said. I think they're actually in that faction and in that character, there are better cards. I just don't see this ever seeing play because of the competition it has with particularly Groot and the faction. But
so Groot's always getting played, though, right?
Yes, but I don't even know if you play this card with Groot. I think
but my concept here is that if Groot's already in your list and you're playing Star-Lord, what's the penalty to bringing this over, like, Crew the Milano? I think this has just as likely an opportunity to be good as Crew does.
That's true.
I think it's this logic where they view their tactics cards as Crew is their plucky attitude card, and they don't even think about it. And I'm like, that's so bad, because I've never seen anyone play Crew outside of one game where it was relevant.
Yay.
And it was like, I don't want to get all webbed up. I play Crew of the Milano. I'm like, all right, I guess. It's like, whatever. It's like, I'm still going to beat you. Like, it's just, I'm not going to kill you. It was just annoying. So I was like, yeah, that's the one time I've ever seen it be actually useful.
Every time you take that We Are Groot card, like, the way I look at it, look at how easy it is to get damage on most everybody in that faction. However, 2 damage on, like, a Thanos, and if you repair that, you're like, God damn it. or Magneto or Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
Like there's certain characters that 2 damage is valuable, but most of them it doesn't matter when it comes to the Guardians. Like 2 damage is the same as 3 or 4. Like you've got them stunned.
It's
or
not about
dazed,
removing
like-
2 damage, though. It's about threatening that you will remove 8 damage, right? Like, that's the problem.
Yeah,
And so
I've tried
it's gonna
it.
force,
I don't know. It's hard to get off.
even if you put it in and your opponent just goes, okay, well, I can't randomly attack people. I have to just laser people down.
Mhm.
Well, if they're playing that way, that's fine, because you still have a use for the card. You just pitch it for defense rolls, and you're like, go eat a dick. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's good, but it's like
All right, Parker, are you still at a 3?
Yeah.
Are we done?
No, I'm actually.
Did my Crew the Milano argument bring you up to a 4?
I'm actually going to say, yeah. Your argument with that is, I'm going to bring it up to 4. Yep, let's do 4.
All right,
Hard 4.
4 it is. We all did 4.
Mhm.
Oh, you're using hard 4s?
Hard 4.
Never mind. I'm gonna put it in bold.
Yeah.
All right, next card.
Gamma launch. If Hulk.
Man, this card vanished
Yeah.
from the meta.
All right. It's an active card. If Hulk is within range 2 of an allied character that is not holding an asset or civilian, he can spend 3 to play it. Place the other allied character within 5 of its current position. A place 5 for somebody else.
Yeah. This card is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, pure awesome. Unfortunately, it has a 6-point tag on it. I remember, like, the turn 1 Thor for Asgard's into your, like, pick a character. It was like, my character moves up and picks up this objective. Your turn. Gamma launch for Asgard, stagger, stun, dead. And you just like 1 turn kill Killmonger. And you're like, what the hell happened? Because he would just throw Thor. Thor already has, like, power, and he's like, come get some. It was crazy. All the weird shit you could do. But yeah, it's now that people know that Hulk is bad, this card doesn't get played. The card is still really good, though. It's probably the only reason I would consider taking Hulk at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're considering this card, I mean, we're looking at the cards. You have to have Hulk because you have to have him. So, like, I mean, in the world where Hulk is in your list and on the table, this card is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, it's attempting to bring the average of your list up a little bit.
yeah, it's an epic card. Like, they don't make cards like that.
Yeah. I'd probably go with a 3. Just because of how bad Hulk is. But, I mean, if Hulk was an average character, or let's say it said She-Hulk, I'd probably give this a 7. But because it's Hulk, I'm giving it a 3.
Oh, man.
He
I'm gonna
brings
go with-
your list down so far.
I know how much people hate him, but I don't think the card should pay for that. I'm going to say a 5.
I don't know. We said we have to rate it according to the characters, though. Oh, no. How did we say this? Did we say it the other way around? Let's see how I can't remember. It's been 3 weeks since we've done this. Let's go to Shush and see what we did with Shush. Shush got a 2, which means we're rating assuming that you're paying the cost of the character.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think 5 is too high. I think I could be talked up to a 4. So you're telling me a list that has Gamma Launch and Hulk is better than your average list, or at least comparable. If I see a list that's your squad is Hulk and Gamma Launch, that's a below average list to me. There's no way that breaks average.
I feel like I can be convinced otherwise. I feel like there's enough models out there and enough shenanigans that
You think there's a crazy enough combo?
I don't know. I would like to think so. Being able to put a Model 5 forward.
But how about this? I'll swing you with this argument. Being able to place models range 5 isn't as unique as it used to be. We have cards that let you place effectively anywhere.
Yeah.
Like Mothership and Asteroid M, just unlimited place distance.
Yeah.
Placing range 5 isn't as big. Also,
right.
climbing gear. There's a lot more cards that let you move now.
All right. What did we rate any of those? Are those rated? Did we do some of those?
Oh,
can't find those
Mothership and
place
them?
cards.
Yeah, we rated the faction cards. Asteroid M got a 7, and Mothership got a 6. And that was because
All right,
of the characters in the faction.
I'm going to say a 4. We're going to go to a 4.
I'm still going 3. This is not worth adding Hulk to your roster. It is a good effect, but it's not worth adding Hulk to your roster.
Parker, where you at?
For me, I actually say it's also a 3, and the reason why is Hulk costs too many points. It's not like Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
It's not like Lethal Protector where you're playing Venom and Venom's also like costing you another character. Hulk costs you a whole character to play, at least.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's a 3.
Yeah, that's all we're talking about here is how detrimental is Hulk to your roster, and I think it's noticeably detrimental.
Speaking of Hulk, let's move to Agents
Yeah.
of Smash.
Yeah.
This is whew.
All right. Agents of Smash. If Hulk and She-Hulk are within range 2 of the same interactive terrain feature of size 5 or less, they may spend 3 each to play this card. Choose either Hulk or She-Hulk to throw the terrain feature long. I love how hard you're shaking
Just
your
for
hands. Your hands.
For the audience at home, there's a lot of head shaking happening while he's reading. It's like 3 people just going left to right. Nope.
Yeah, this is just the.
So
This is just
something
the
I
worst.
do want to say is this is a fun, unique card. There will probably not be any card like this for a long time. Holy shit. Moving 5 size terrain, size 5 size terrain, size 5 terrain, 5 guys. Anyway, size 5 terrain is a big deal. Spending 3 power on 2 Hulks is not as hard as it sounds, but it's still not good because She-Hulk actually likes having power. It is possible, though, that she has done a bunch of attacks and she's ending her activation with 3 power, so it's not as big of a deal. I also have not played both Hulks at the same... Oh, I had played both Hulks at the same time. It was actually not that bad, because you can bodyguard from one Hulk to another, so it's a 40-point cumulative pool, kind of. And you can now they have to do, 39 damage before one of them falls down, potentially, and that's a big difference than doing 20 damage. Throwing big stuff long is cool. Having both Hulks within range 2 of each other is impossible, which is bad.
No, it's range 2 of the same.
It's just not a good
It's within range 2 of the same interactive terrain feature.
Yeah, you can. That's true.
So
Yes, they don't have-
size 5
They don't
terrain
technically
is
have to do them
huge.
to each other. But when you look at it through the lens of She-Hulk is one of the 2 characters, having them within 2 of each other makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because that actually helps. But yeah, it's just not worth it. Like 6 potential damage for 6 power and 2 6-point characters within range 2 of the same object. It's just not worth it. Now, if Agents of Smash becomes a faction in the future, and their affiliation is reduce the point cost of characters in this affiliation by 1, yeah, I'm in, right? Come at me with that. I'll see 5-point Hulk, 5-point She-Hulk, and 4-point Scar, and 4-point Red Hulk, or 5-point Red Hulk. I'm all for that, because that could be fun. And
Right.
in that list, I could maybe see this card getting played, because it's literally about, can I kill you fast enough before my list falls apart? like just throwing a box of silverware down a flight of stairs. There's only one way this works, guys. We have to do it fast. Anyway, this card's bad. Jeremy, do you have anything to say about this card? Do you
Nope.
like the art?
No, I think it's awful.
Is that because she's flexing on you?
Yeah, I was gonna say Jeremy
There's a
does
lot
not
of
like the art.
reasons. There's a lot of
Jeremy has
reasons.
that phobia of muscly women.
It's just I retch at the thought of it. It's awful.
It's like saying moist.
No,
He
it
just
doesn't bother
hears
me.
moist
And-
at 900 decibels in his head every time he looks at
Ugh.
She-Hulk.
So gross.
All right, I'm gonna go with a 2.
Two.
Yeah, 2.
Two's fine.
Actually, can I take that back? I'm looking at other cards we've rated. This is a 1. I take it back. This is a 1.
truly, you have to combo in 2 dudes to do something
It's just
that's
bad.
pretty stupid. Like,
Yeah, they can each throw size 4 terrain. So
Yeah.
we're
It's
only
stupid.
talking about getting that extra 1. Do you
it's
guys agree with 1?
one
this
is
a
fine.
1?
It's stupid.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm just looking at to me, my X-Men is worse than this card. That's not true.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We've got another
Usurp
one.
the Throne. Usurp the Throne is an active card. Killmonger can only play it, and he has to spend 3 to play it. This round, Killmonger adds 2 dice to his attack rolls when attacking the enemy character to the highest threat value. If Killmonger dazes or KOs that character, his controlling player scores 2 victory points. If there is a tie for the highest threat value, Killmonger's controller chooses 1 to be affected by this card. So this is a really, really good version of Mark the Target we discussed earlier. This is an excellent, excellent version of that card that has a lot of really cool things that you want to have happened. Oh, sorry, Dirty Work, not Mark the Target. It marks them with the card, but Dirty Work is the card that we don't like. This is Dirty Work 1.0 and also stronger.
This to me is one of those cards that like it does exactly what you want to happen.
Yep.
It's it makes a character that wants to be killy more killy. It gives you victory points. It's all good. Like everything is good about Usurp the Throne. It does exactly what you want to do, and it's like kill more. And it's great. So if you take Killmonger, this card is perfect attachment. Like they hook up, they fit perfectly. They're like puzzle pieces. They're great.
The one thing that I also like.
What if?
Go ahead.
Well, I'd say, what if instead, after everything happens, the reward was you get 2 power?
Yeah.
Would this be good?
Yeah, we already said this is
Only 2 power. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'd want.
I would say the other thing I do like about this is as strong as it is, it's also balanced because Killmonger having 3 power, he has to wait till turn 3 to start.
It does cost him.
Yeah. He has to wait till turn 3 to do it, or he has to get 3 power some other way. So he's definitely an Alpha Strike type character. He does not like staying on the board waiting to do his thing because he's not defensive, and so he likes to be just exactly, range to charge and kill someone. And if it takes him till turn 3 to do that, so be it. That's what's cool about this card is if you spend 4 power on a Killmonger and you waited till turn 3 to do something, it needs to be super impactful. Well, Usurp the Throne is that super impactful thing, right? He's like, if he can wait for 2, turn 3 if he's going to add 2 dice and kill someone and score 2 VPs. Like that's a really awesome use of a 4-point character if you didn't do anything for the first 2 turns. So I think it's a really great card that requires you to play him a certain way, but it feeds into the way he wants to play also. It's strong. Out of curiosity, what do you guys do?
I'm
You
not
think
sure
this is
where you guys are expecting to.
do you think this card is a trap at all? Do you think the fact that the card exists makes people make a mistake and play it? Like is it sometimes a real big mistake to have Usurp the Throne, or is it never a mistake to have Usurp the Throne?
No.
I don't think it's ever a mistake. Yeah, it might not be optimal, but I don't think it's ever a trap.
Okay.
Because it does what you want. It gives you more attack dice. It gives you victory points. Like, what are the other win conditions? You can table your opponent, or you can score 16 before they do. Those are your 2 win conditions. So this accomplishes both.
Nobody is not running from Killmonger.
I guess it is a trap, Parker, if you don't play Killmonger. If you just have, you're like, oh, damn it, I did it to myself again. I took the wrong guy. And you're like, this Hulk can't play Usurp the Throne. You're like, yep. All right, I'm going to start with a 6. I think 6 is fair. Jeremy?
I'm going to give it a 7 because it adds victory points. Not only does it do what you want to do, more, it adds victory points, which is very, very rare. Like, it's just an attached, like, goodies bag. Like, and victory points. It's like, wow.
Parker?
I was going to say, since... I don't know if it's the reason to play this character, but it's always played with this character, right? It's that strong to always take a tactic slot. I think 7's the floor, actually. I was willing to go to a crazy number like 8 because of how perfectly it fits into the way this game is played and this character specifically. But if we're looking at also the fact that this character is not played in every list and he is...
That was kind of why I went down to a 6. I think it's a very good card. But it is only a single character can play it. He doesn't get to choose who it is, really, which is a problem sometimes because there's some characters you're just never going to get to kill. Like sending him after MODOK isn't really valuable. It's such a waste to put him into MODOK. Not to mention he probably won't actually get there. He'll just get killed. Like he'll run in once on a charge and die because he can't charge and play Usurp the Throne unless he does amazingly well. And so it's just unlikely. There are some matchups where you don't want it. There's also a lot of games where you're not going to have Killmonger. I don't know. And also Killmonger's kind of losing his luster a little bit. He's obviously still great in Wakanda, but he's not like the auto drop-in that he used to be. There's more valuable damage for 4 points.
Medusa came out, which takes up his spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, Medusa, Valkyrie. There's a lot of like 4 or cheaper characters that plug and play for damage better than him. Like we've said in previous podcasts, I think his value is going down because he doesn't do multiple targets. He only wants to kill one person, and there's a lot of times that isn't that valuable. Like you want him in matches where there is a 4 or 5 point character you absolutely want to kill that he actually can kill, and those characters are going away. it's pretty much just MODOK, Magneto, Thanos are like the big guys now. And those characters he has a problem killing pretty much all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's more of a problem of his prey is going away for me. So we're going to rate him at a 7 though. So next up is Last Minute Save.
Last Minute Save. So Last Minute Save is a reactive card that only be played by the goodest boy, Lockjaw. When another allied character within 3 inches of Lockjaw would be KO'd, Lockjaw may spin...
You said inches.
What's that? Sorry?
You said inches again.
Did I say inches again?
You said within 3 inches, yeah.
God dang it.
Stop saying inches.
Okay. When another allied character within range 3 of an allied Lockjaw would be KO'd, Lockjaw may spend 3 power to play this card. The allied character removes 1 damage, is not KO'd, and is placed within range 1 of Lockjaw.
This card's dumb.
This card is super duper good.
This card was a mistake. Jeremy, you got anything to say?
What?
I think it's crystal clear how good this card is. This card is stupid.
I get what you did there.
It's stupid
you
good.
worked crystal into a sentence.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
It's super good, man. Like being able to
it's dumb.
reposition, save your model, and then even filling back up with health if you want to is pretty dumb. I mean, it wastes the activation of another model, which is really the brutal part of it.
You can use it on anybody. A lot of these cards are like save so and so or fix this thing. Like it cancels the attack after it's happened. Like there's very few times that happens. Usually it is when you target somebody triggers the effect. This is one of the only times that someone else is saving a third party, and that third party is not a restricted character, right? Like, can we name any other time that just says, well, after lethal damage has happened, save them? Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No, it's a new effect, I think.
Yeah, it's real stupid.
Another thing it lets you do is just play like fast and loose with a character, right? You're just like, here, I'm going to make this aggressive character and just send him straight into you. And there's a chance he survives, and then I lose nothing. But if I lose this character because I was way too aggressive with him, I didn't actually lose this character. And I'll likely get to do more with him later in the game. So that's
well, I also don't like
strong.
that there's a bunch of characters that get stronger when they're damaged,
Right.
like Wolverine or Sabretooth.
Drax.
And then also, you just get to keep all the power.
Mm-hmm.
The power doesn't go away. So it's like, oh, why do 5 damage you? So you gain 5 power and then heal 1. And then it's your turn, I guess? Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's so stupid. Like, it's clearly... Like, this card was clearly not well designed, in my opinion. This was a huge mistake, releasing this card. They immediately had to eradicate it, because they didn't even say, buy an enemy effect on it. It's just that is KO'd. Like, you could deal with the devil or price of failure your own guy, and then play last minute save on it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, when it comes to tactics cards and gotcha moments and like how good a card is, to me this is one of those ceiling cards. Like, holy shit, I hope they never make a card better than that card. The only thing that holds you down is Lockjaw is 3 points, and that, you know,
He's easily worth 3 points.
yeah, exactly.
This is the kind of... This is what I view as meta poison. This is going to influence the game forever until it gets banned or something overtakes it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the gold standard of a support model from now on. Nothing will eclipse this model until they break something else down the road. So this is why I want to see cards get errated, or like I could see Lockjaw being put on a restricted list. Like, this is silly.
I don't.
This model does not function with. I don't think it will either. But just going to be It's like, sure, we're going to see this model until people are tired of playing with it, and it's just like it just puts everything else in such a corner to be able to compete with something this broken. I really don't like it.
I'm surprised. I mean, we just read a card that said X-Force, and it has to be an X-Force model, and it also sucks. This one is do anybody anytime whenever you want. It doesn't cost very much.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what? Like,
Yeah,
why
well,
didn't
it
this just
costs
say
3
Inhumans?
on a model that generates 4 power a turn? Oh no!
I mean, why didn't this just say Inhumans? If it said Inhumans, then everyone could live
It
with
wouldn't
this.
be nearly as bad. It would still be really good.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
But it's just stupid.
But as it is now, I mean, this thing's like a 9 or a 10, man. It's ridiculous.
And the only reason it's a 9 is because you can only use it with one character. Like, this card could clearly never be printed out without, like, a character restriction, right?
I would think not.
right? Like, it'd be impossible. It would just end the game, basically. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say 10, but part of me doesn't want to say 10 because I don't think this is a 10. I just think it's a poorly designed card. This is just like they forgot to put multiple restrictions on here. Like, it shouldn't be range 3. It should probably cost more than 3. It shouldn't work the way it does. Like, it just feels like someone just like accidentally made this card.
I feel that way
I
about
guess-
Lockjaw though. Like, I feel like Lockjaw got like, what would be cool for this game? I don't know. Let's do this without really thinking about it.
Well,
and just splashing it out there.
To be fair, there's the one thing I'll say about this card is it is very flavorful. Lockjaw is just a walking Marvel Deus Ex Machina. Like, that's what he is, right? He's like, our main character is about to die in an obviously lethal way. What happens? Lockjaw, woof, and he shows up and saves the day. So it is very, very much a Deus Ex Machina in the game. That's what it is.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that his fucking teleport power should cost 4. Like, if they just change that number to a 4, he's fine. But the fact that he can build up 4 turns worth of teleporting basically for free at the start of the game and just never worry about it again, it's like he just generates way too much power. Like, what if he generated 1 extra power every turn for having a friend nearby? Why is it 3? It's just like someone decided that this model needed to be broken and made sure it was, is what it feels like. Or it wasn't play tested right. Like, this is the kind of stuff that damages the game going forward, I think. And it's not like catastrophic or anything, it's just really annoying. Just like Shuri, I think he is better than Shuri. Mostly because of last minute save. If it wasn't for last minute save, I think Shuri's probably still
I'm like,
better.
whoa, Turbo. I don't know. That's a big claim. But I mean, going back to last minute save, I mean, this thing, it's phenomenal. I mean, we rated it, right? It's a 9, a 10.
Shuri has counters. I don't think the dog does. How do you counter abilities that happen on his turn?
You know, I think the only way to counter the dog is you fucking kill it. Like, you have to go for it. You have to destroy it. Like, it has to die.
Counter. There's no abilities that stop him from doing his thing.
Nope.
Like, the closest thing is Loki. And it's like, okay, well, that's really just the Mind Stone. And so messing up his positioning is the only thing you can even come close to doing. But that doesn't really do anything because he can just move first. Like, it doesn't actually stop him. It just makes it annoying. As like Shuri, like, you can put like Sabretooth against Shuri, and that's just like a nightmare matchup because she can't really push him away, and he's going to eventually get there and kill her. And there's not much she can do because she won't whittle him down fast enough because he heals. I don't know.
What do you rate last minute save?
It's at least a 9. I don't think it's a 10 because I can imagine cards better than this. But the problem is that can you make a card that can't be played in every list the best card in the game? What, have we rated anything a 9 yet? I'm looking. We have 1 9. It's Cosmic Invigoration. Yeah, that's the only 9 so far. Yeah, I think this is on that part. I'm going to go a 9. I could be talked up or down, but I think it's a 9.
Yeah, I already called it 9. I'm good with that.
Yep, I think it's a 9.
Parker?
I 100% agree it's a 9.
9. It would obviously be an 11 if it wasn't restricted to Lockjaw. My problem on top of everything else is it's encouraging you to take a toxic model, in my opinion. Like, it's just like, hey, you should take, like, what if there was a card for, like, what if Well-Laid Plans was just Shuri pays 3? Like, that's the equivalent of this card. Like, it's just like, why? Why did you do this? Anyway, let's move on.
Next card is Magnetic Crush. Our big boy Magneto.
My love-hate card.
Mm-hmm. So Magnetic Crush is an attack power. Magneto can spend 5 to play the card. It is a range 4, 6 power, 6 attack dice card. It costs him 5 power to play. When creating the dice pool for this attack, you may destroy any number of interactive terrain features of size 3 or less within range 2 of the target character. If you do, add dice to the attack roll equal to all of the destroyed terrain's features sizes combined. Before damage is dealt, other enemy characters within range 2 of the target character also suffer 1 damage.
This is really, really cool, but it's bad.
Is it just because of how difficult it is to make it happen?
No, it just costs 5 power. There's no value to this attack because he can't modify the dice. Well, there's nothing stops him from modifying the dice, but he doesn't have an ability to modify the dice. And so, and I've tried, like, I've set up tables like, all right, how dumb can this get? And 16 dice is pretty much where it's like you have to intentionally set up a death trap. And when your opponent knows you have this, they're just not going to do that. The only value to this attack is that it's range 4. And so if you're in a situation where you can't afford to move, then this attack is decent. But it's just like, you could just shrapnel blast them. There's just so many things you could do. The only reason to ever do this is because it's range 4. If it was range 5, I would actually say there's some value to it, because that's a long enough range where you're actually impacting the game. But 5 power on Magneto, when you could be doing a gaining attack, you're really talking about like 6 or 7 power probably. And that much power is so much more worth the damage you're going to get from the power. And so it's just not worth it. Like, even if you rolled 16 dice, it's like, sure, let's say you daze the guy. It's like, well, he fucking does that anyway. Like, Magneto just kills you.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
Yeah,
It's
it's kind of a waste. I mean, he can throw shit at you and do it at a pace, which is like not a waste. And also, how many games do people play? I mean, whether you're playing MODOK or Magneto, you're just looking for shit to throw. You're like, oh my god, I've ran out of things to throw. Well, the last thing you want to do is Magnetic Crush and kill all the shit into one attack. Yeah. That sounds horrible.
The best time to use it is when you've like placed a bunch of your own little size 2 things down in a small area, because those aren't really worth it efficiently to throw them one at a time. So that's kind of okay. So if you catch them like next to 2 size 2s and you can put your own size 2s down in advance. So you're like, well, I'm going to throw 4 size 2s at you. So there's 8 dice. So it's 14 dice. That's the break even point where it's like, well, this is better than just doing my reverse polarity attack. But you're destroying 4 pieces of terrain. I don't know. It's just okay. The big part of this would be if Brotherhood was actually viable right now, which it really isn't. You would actually get like enough power back to give to the rest of your team. But I think the power is still better on Magneto, so I don't see the value in that. Maybe this changes in the future, but right now I think this card's basically valueless.
Really?
I think for
that's
what he's trying to
valueless
do, and the way
seems...
he plays. I mean, at best, Magneto's going to gain 1 power himself for doing that if it's the first thing you did. While he has an attack that will gain him basically unlimited power. I just don't get it.
So how many dice do you have to roll, Parker, before this becomes better than his basic attack?
I will not disagree that he is already such a hoss. This is, putting a cherry on a pile of cherries. You're like, why do you need to do this?
Well, it's not, though. It's actually removing from the pile, because let's say you rolled 10 dice. Well, 10 dice, if you were getting to reroll, is probably about equivalent, right? Probably worse than just rolling 6 dice with rerolls. 12 dice is better than rolling 6 dice with rerolls, right? So that's obviously a break-even point. But now we're talking about also spending 5 power on top of it. The 5 power is directly equating to damage because of his kit. Because that 5 power is 5 size of terrain he gets to throw at you. And then you're going to roll defense dice against it. So you're already doing more damage by not playing the card. And so you have to roll like 16 dice before it becomes value to actually do it. And at that point, you're opening it up, because we've talked about this so many times. You're putting all your dice in one basket, and you're saying, I'm just going to roll 16 dice, and if it's not like 8, this is worthless. And so you're going to roll like 8 hits versus them, maybe a little bit more, and then they're going to roll defense dice and say, hey, you did 5 damage to my character with 5 hit points, he's dazed. It's like, I could have done that without spending 5 power, because all of the damage I would have done with my attacks would have gained me power. And so it's just like, at what point is it worth it? It's like, yeah, if you throw 20 dice at Thanos, it's better. That's where we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, it's actually better now. But it's so unrealistic that you'll get to that point that it's just like not worth it. It's like, okay, well, he's saying next to 2 size 3s and a size 2, and I put both of my size 2s down next to him. So that's what? 12 extra dice? That's 18? Like, when are you going to have... You're next to 6 pieces of terrain within range 2? Like, that's just not happening. So it's just like, to get to the point where this is actually worth it, it's just unrealistic that would ever happen. Right. And even if it did, it'd only be against those specific characters that were just, like, immune to damage.
I see what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. The thing that I did not like about... You said you don't know if it has value.
It is range 4. You're paying like 8 power to increase the range of your attack by 1.
And the thing I don't like, I guess I will 100% agree with you that on a model that is king shit of doing lots of damage, it does do an AoE damage, so you might get a couple extra damage off of it because if your other enemy characters
he has an AoE attack though.
That's right, he does.
He has an AoE attack.
He does have an AoE. I forgot. Okay.
It's a bigger AoE than this.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. He's such king shit of damage and spending his power to just translate it directly into damage. This card, when you read it, you go, oh, how cool, and then you put it on him, and you go, wait a minute, how redundant and like you're demonstrating how unfeasibly costly is it to spend 5. I almost feel like this card would be okay if it costs 2. And then if you say it costs 2, you'd be like, oh, that card's so broken. You're like, no, not really, not a Magneto, because he's already spending power to kill you anyway. This is just a little bit more efficient than what he's doing already.
Well, but normally he gains power for killing people, though.
Right.
Like, that's the problem, is, like, anyone who's ever played Magneto is like, this guy generates so much power.
Right.
But then it's like, how about instead of gaining power, we just threw it away? And you're like, why?
Right.
And so my problem with the whole, it's range 4, it's like, play climbing gear, play tactical analysis. Like, there's so many cards that fix the range problem before this. Because one attack in a game at 1 extra range is not value.
Yeah.
It's like you could play any number of cards that fix this problem that aren't this. That actually make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the concept of this card. It's really cool. I'm glad it's in the game. But man, it is not good. And I see so many people just like slam it in their 8. And they're like, no, don't do that. You're off to a bad start.
Okay. So I'm willing to rate this a 1. Go ahead.
I'm going to give it a 2. No, I take it back.
I think it's a 1.
I was gonna try and argue it too because I like the card, but it's so bad.
It's a 1 because it's like you said, it's negative value. It's actually taking away from Magneto's ability to actually win the game. Yeah.
There are 5 cards you could put in your list that are directly better at this card than at doing what this card's supposed to do. Jeremy,
It's a 1. I don't.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything.
All right, let's do one. Let's do the next 4 cards. We're gonna call.
Okay.
Now here's the other magnetic card that is super duper strong. Magnetic Refraction. Magneto can pay 2 to play this card. He gains cover. Allied characters within 3 also gain cover. If you're using a squad that's Brotherhood of Mutants affiliation, return this card to your Team Tactics cards during the cleanup phase, and you can play it again. A reusable tactics card that gives you cover around a model that always has 2 power. Seems good and stuff.
One of the important things is that he doesn't have to be the leader of the Brotherhood for this card to work, which is pretty cool. So you could be using Mystique's leadership if you want, although I think Magneto's is also probably better, but it depends on the list you're building. Jeremy, do you have anything to say about this card?
This card's phenomenal. Cover is crazy good. Cover within 3 of everybody, and the ability to reuse it, and it only costs 2 on a model that just creates power. The only thing is if you don't have priority, this card sometimes doesn't do anything. You just get blasted. It's really good though.
Yeah, having priority with this card, it makes all the difference. It does force Magneto to go a lot earlier than he would usually want. But yeah, this card, to sum it up, is good.
He can just spend the power though. Does he have to actually be activated?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, it
doesn't matter.
Forget
you
what
just
I said.
you just need to be priority. That's it.
If only Magneto could guaranteed have 2 power at the start of a round.
It's hard.
There's some way we could do that.
If we could figure
I
that
think
out.
the answer is don't get double poisoned. It is actually possible. If they poison you and you only have 1 construct out, you won't have 2 power. If you started with 0. Because they have clarified that his gaining of power and his constructs are separate instances of gaining power. So you would have, if stun doesn't work, you literally have to poison him. Which is just like, okay. Which means you're probably playing bad models. Which means you're already died. And you also have to get rid of all the constructs every round. And make sure he has 0 power. But yeah, adding cover on top of his 6 dice defense rolls is just silly. Because It makes it so consistent where it wasn't before. Like everyone's blanked out on 6 defense dice, I think, at this point. Like, it just feels like, why did I bother? Like, why did I even roll them? And you're like, so it's nice to have cover backing it up, because it actually gets you to the point where your average is pretty consistently going to be 2 or 3, which is actually pretty hard to punch through. Most attacks being 5 dice and all. It's actually really frustrating.
Yeah, it's a
All
very
right.
solid card.
So numbers, this card is not as good without Brotherhood affiliation, and not as good without priority. I'm still going to put it like an 8, I think. I love this card. This card is really good.
I don't know how many people out there will know the feeling of attacking a Thanos who is also magnetic refracted. It makes you want to quit this game. So it's definitely an 8. I'll just leave it an 8. It's very solid.
I mean, Jeremy literally almost quit this game because of this card. Jeremy was about to sell his fucking models. Remember when it was this and Doctor Strange for a long time? It was like 8 dice defense rolls with cover. He was like, I'm so fucking done. I'm literally done. Like, He's like, I'm not playing this bullshit anymore. He's like, there's no answer for this. It's dumb.
I would still
Kingpin's in there trying to slap fight people, and he's like, why is no one taking damage? He's like, it's okay, I'll just throw him off the point. And he's like, I can't be moved.
I still believe that it's damn near, it's fucking bad for the game. But that doesn't mean it's not a great card.
Mm-hmm. This, I almost think we should rate this a 9, but how about this? If this was Brotherhood only affiliation, would we rate this a 9?
If it was Brotherhood
because
only?
We're not thinking about it. If it was Brotherhood only, which meant it could always be replayed. Are we only rating it lower because sometimes you can't replay it?
I'm rating it. I would actually rate it an 8 because it does mean Magneto has to go early in the round, and I don't know how many times I've heard you say.
No, he doesn't.
Hold on, Parker. No. I misspoke earlier. It's an active card, not a during activation card. He can play it regardless of who activates.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Priority is the only thing that matters.
It's just priority. And you have a 6-point model, which makes it easier to get priority, I've heard.
I could be talked up to a 9. I mean, here's the deal. It only costs 2. Holy shit.
And it's on a character that will always have the power to play, like we just talked about. Like, he generates 3 a turn, basically. Like, 2 for him is nothing.
The bubble is enormous also. The bubble is enormous.
I mean, what's it worth to be
base.
able to keep 3 points of damage off your guys all the time?
How about this? Let's just do it this way. Is this card better than Avengers Assemble? Is this card better than Stalwart Determination?
Yes.
Is this card better than Odin's Blessing?
Yes.
It's a 9.
Then a 9 it is. It's better than those. Yeah.
Parker, do you agree? Do you want to argue this?
I don't know that it's better than Avengers Assemble.
I just think the problem I was having looking at it earlier is I'm looking at it as a card that has an extra ability of being in Brotherhood. But if we were only looking at it as a Brotherhood option, we would probably have given it a 9 because we would never consider that it could be played without. But really, it's just extra because the whole playing it without repeat thing is an extra bonus that the card has built into it that is non-standard for affiliation cards, which makes it even better, not worse. Yes. So we shouldn't be detracting from it because it's better and more versatile.
I would actually say that I think you can definitely play a slot and 2 power for it in a game. It's definitely that strong. So I think it's a 9. It's funny. I wish this card didn't exist for the same reason you didn't like Last Minute Save. I think Magneto is horrible for the game. I actually think he's awful for the game. I cannot stand that he exists in the game. The way that he does. I think he breaks the game far worse than Lockjaw ever does or will ever do. But that's my own personal opinion. And I believe the fact that they put this on that card is equally terrifying. And because of that, because I believe Magneto is as bad for the game as Lockjaw, and this card is as bad for Magneto as Last Minute Save, I think it deserves the same treatment. It should be a 9.
I understand where you're coming from there. The only argument I would have back is that Magneto isn't a 3-point support model that you can literally put in every list in the game. That's my argument coming back, is that my problem with Lockjaw isn't that he's strong, it's that he is literally just going to be carbon copied in every list. It's like, what do I put in as my 10th slot? Lockjaw. Like, he's just replacing whatever random support model you were taking before, and he just is better than all the other options. As where Magneto, while being the best, like, blaster in the game, is 6 points and fills a different role than, like, every list doesn't need a Magneto, and not every list can take a Magneto.
No, you can put MODOK in a list too, where Magneto,
Yeah.
you can have those flip-flop things. There's only one Lockjaw. I agree.
I don't agree. I think this game has been solved.
I see what you're saying.
I think you play Magneto and something else, and then you watch your opponent not win. Like, I think I don't think he automatically wins the game. I don't think he's that easy. And I think Lockjaw is super strong.
I definitely don't think he's...
But
yeah, I don't think he's necessarily easy to play. I think there are certain types of people that would be better at playing, like positioning focused people and people with great spatial awareness are going to be much greater advantage by taking him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think he is considerably stronger than most models. Yeah. I think that is a fair statement. At the same time, though, like he was saying, like you can carbon copy swap in MODOK in a lot of those lists, and the concept will stay true. I don't think it's necessarily a solo Magneto issue. It's a elite model issue. The most expensive models in the game, I think, are a little too strong. Models like MODOK and Magneto and Hulk are just too good. We need to bring them down. So we should probably just delete Hulk, and that would balance it out. What do you think?
I saw what you did there.
I love how you snuck Hulk in there.
I saw what you did there.
It's just like, I'm just going to keep talking until they stop me and just see what happens.
Hulk and
the conversation.
And...
If you actually look at it, if we average their power, they're probably all balanced. It's just all the crap that was left over went into Hulk.
I am totally fine with having a conversation about how elite models are skewing this game another time. But I just want to make the point that I think it deserves a 9 for the same reason that Lockjaw deserves a 9, which is he's an outlying model for sure, and it's a super good card for an outlying model.
Your flawed reasoning led you to agree with me, so I'll let it go
Done.
for now. Let's move on.
Aim Lackeys. Aim Lackeys is an unaffiliated card, but only MODOK can spend 3 to play it. Choose another allied character. That character may perform a move action as an additional action during its activation this round.
This card is awesome. I would like to say, for the most part about this card, this was the gold standard of movement action cards when we first started playing the game. I don't think at the time we respected how important 3 power was on MODOK, but this is exactly what I love, is that you can play this card, you choose another character, and then they just get a move action during their turn for the rest of the round. So they get to choose when they use it, because a lot of times people want to play like tactical analysis to move a character. It's like, well, Magneto's not where he needs to be, so I need to move him forward, or like Mothership or a card like that. And so they want to move him forward right now to get him in position, but all that does is tell your opponent where he is and let them attack him before he gets a chance to go. And so this card was great because it lets you decide in the moment when they were activating how you wanted to spend those actions and where you wanted to put them, which is why I love this card so much. Now what I know is it's probably less good because 3 power on MODOK is a lot of power to give up on MODOK. But once you get MODOK rolling, sometimes he has that much to spare. But I remember early on, I would like spend the first 3 power he had for Aim Lackeys. I'm like, man, I was bad at this game. Jeremy, what do you think? Aim Lackeys.
I think as the game goes on and more tactics cards are out and there's different ways to move and different I don't know. It's still really great. I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to. It's good. It gives you basically an additional action on a character. And how good is that to move? I mean, you pay for that on Thanos to give him an extra move. You pay for it on Doctor Strange for their gems. You pay for that. And you get to just kind of hand it out with him, which is cool. I mean, it's solid. It's a great card. It does what it should. For 3 power, that's okay. I'd like to see it at 2, to be honest. 2 would be perfect, but whatever.
You know, I also
think there's enough reasons to take MODOK.
I also like these.
Yeah.
I also like that it gives an extra move action on a character. So any other cool interactions with movement work. Like you could make Ghost Riders, like you can combine it with Ghost Riders cards where if he moves once and then he pulls somebody and then he gets 2 actions after that. Like there are every time they ever print a cool movement trick in the game, this card will find another possibility. The fact that it doesn't just place and it creates a move in the turn is actually really cool and interesting. I like that exists because there are other interesting interactions that will continue to happen over and over and over again as the game evolves.
Mm-hmm. For example, special delivery in A-Force triggers after a move action or at the start of a move action.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be able to trigger that, as where a card that would place you or advance you wouldn't.
Right.
Also, it interacts very interestingly with scenarios, because a lot of scenarios will say it can only take one move action around. So this is like also a balancing factor. I like the terminology they used in this card a lot, and I wish they would get back to that a little bit more. I think the concept of just granting an additional action to happen during someone's turn is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so for rating, I think I'm going to give this a 6. I don't think it gets up to a 7, but I like this card a lot.
I'm trying to place myself when I took MODOK and AIM lackeys. It really does depend on what the rest of your force looks like, because you'll probably take a different version of move card, because it's probably cheaper or does something special. It's still better than a 5. Probably a 6 is fine. I can live with a 6.
I think it's a definition of a 6. I like it a lot.
All right, 6 it is. Let's move on, and this is going to be the last card we rate today.
Psychic Fortress. It has reminiscent of magnetic refraction, or magnetic reflection, rather. So it's
it's refraction.
Oh, is it refraction? Oh, cool.
Refraction.
Okay. Psychic Fortress is another unaffiliated active card, but MODOK has to spend 3 power to play it. He gains cover this round, and allied characters gain cover while within range 4 of MODOK. So it's exactly allied. It's exactly refraction, except it costs 1 more power to gain 1 more range, and you can't reuse it.
So we originally were playing cover as you cannot use cover if your enemy is within 2 of you, and that is not how it works. You still get the cover if they're within 2 of you. You just normally cannot gain cover if your opponent is within 2 of you. So this card supersedes the minimum range on cover. So does magnetic refraction and rockets cover rules, things like that. So we were playing this much worse than it's intended to function, and we thought it was amazing. So I really like this card. Most of the same reasons as refraction.
I've taken both the Fortress and refraction when I had Magneto in a non-affiliated kind of thing. So, I mean, it's good enough where, like, you want it. Like, keep your guys alive, keep your premium dudes doing just fine.
I've taken both in Cabal before and totally felt fine about it.
It's true.
I mean, fine as in, like, it definitely was a good thing, not fine as in how it made me feel when I looked at my opponent and how, like, upset he was.
It's pretty brutal.
It's already so hard to kill them, but you're like, yeah, MODOK's gonna have cover until turn 4. Is that okay? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
One thing to note about this over the other one, it does cost 1 more, but oh my god, is that a big area. It's a large base and 4 in every direction. It's hard to get out of range. Like, you have to try to not be within 4. Very good.
Yeah, MODOK's usually centrally positioned anyway, so we can do the most good across the board. I think he is, like, this... It's good for the same reason refraction is good, and what I was going to say exactly what you said. It's actually also good because they're both in Cabal. So... Another reason to have a lot of cover. I mean, if your entire force functionally has cover, like super cover for the turn 3 and 4 of the game, how, especially when the 2 characters making that happen are MODOK and Magneto, how are you not up? How are you not up?
We'll
on
just
damage?
kill the source, and you're like, yeah thanks.
Like
thanks for the
the fact that you're not getting this from like Nebula and Drax for some reason. I don't know why they would, but I'm saying, like, the fact that you're getting this on top of 2 fantastic attrition type characters. The
other thing about, like, these last few cards we've been mentioning might feel like they're getting a little inflated on, like, the value on the scale, but these characters are already, like, you have to have an excuse to not play them. So it's like they're already in so many lists that it's like there's no cost to them. It's just upside. I want to rate this an 8. I feel like 7 might be actually closer to its true value, because it's... How do I say this? This card, every time you play it, there is theoretically the option of, well, I'll just back up and wait for later, right? Like, that's kind of the concept of how you beat these cards. Now, the Magneto one, potentially, there is not going to be a turn without cover, so what do you do about it? Also, MODOK doesn't always necessarily like spend the 3 power, as where Magneto doesn't give a shit about spending 2, because it's just better than using force projection. So why would you not use it? Man, I don't know. It's hard. I think at 8 is where I'm at though. I could be talked down.
So one thing to mention, and we haven't really said it, but it is what it is. Like, some of these really good cards have nothing to do with dice. Like, and you look up at Usurp the Throne. That's going to do nothing if you were like shit for 2 turns. Like, it's not going to do anything. But it's still really good. Last minute save, doesn't matter about dice. It's just happening, and it sucks for your opponent. Same Magnetic Crush. That's all about dice. That's 100% about dice. So, like, we're back to another one, Psychic Fortress. Doesn't matter the dice. You just get to basically prevent a damage. It's worth so much. Like, that's upwards in the 7 or 8. I mean, I'd probably put it as a 7, just because there's so many good cards that MODOK wants to take. And to be jamming your list with a bunch of MODOK cards when you may not play MODOK.
Oh no! It gives you another reason to put MODOK in.
I know.
How am I gonna live?
But you know what I mean. Like, so I'll say a 7 just to be devil's advocate and be like, not all these are 8s or 9s. It's still really
such
freaking
a
good.
Big area.
It is humongous.
It's medium base range 3 versus large base range 4 it's just so big.
It is.
Oh man. It feels bad saying that this card is noticeably worse than the Magneto version, even though it technically is more efficient.
The Magneto one has recurs, man. That's
But
huge.
it doesn't always have recursion, but yes. The fact that it doesn't have recursion just means it's more versatile than a lot of cards. I'm Parker, what's your call? So I'm at an 8, Jeremy's at a 7. What do you think?
After reviewing this, I've played MODOK now, and after playing him, I asked myself, why wasn't I not playing this card? This card is so strong. Why was this card not in my set? And I guess that's my question, is when this card is so good, and I've played against MODOK, I think it's... I have now, in all the games I've ever played of Marvel Strike, of this game, of all the games, I think I haven't seen a MODOK twice on in my opponent's field, and yet I've never seen this card. So why is that? What's stopping people from always playing this card?
I think the reason is most people play MODOK, and MODOK is the key to their list, right? Like, MODOK is the centerpiece. This card is not about protecting MODOK. It has nothing to do with protecting MODOK. Because MODOK doesn't need cover. It actually is only so effective on him because he rolls so few dice and he already has rerolls that it's like, well, he doesn't need... Like, you wouldn't spend 3 power to protect MODOK. He's trying to protect everybody else. And so some people just don't care about that, I think, is the reason you don't see it. As where Magneto, it actually noticeably increases his survivability because he doesn't have rerolls on his defense dice, and he has more dice, so there is always a chance you're going to be using... The only time you're not going to be able to use cover, and it's going to be bad for you, is when you roll 6 skulls, right? Like, it's the only time that you're not going to be like, oh, good, I can mod one of these. Like, it's... So MODOK, he only has 2 dice against physical, so the odds of cover being meaningful for him is not super high. But he gets to protect the army better, as where Magneto is usually in the front, so him being protected is actually important.
So, again, I'll ask it. So, you're saying because people are purposely not playing... People are not playing this card because...
I think they don't care about the rest of their list.
Oh.
I think they only care about MODOK killing you.
So, could this card be an 8? Is that possible? If it's never played because you don't play MODOK to protect your list?
Well, I think people are underrating it is why I give it an 8. Now, if you think it's not as good, that's fine. But I think you have to see it happen and see how punishing it is if you use it effectively. I mean, it's just so good.
I am 100
trying to think about.
I am 100% in agreement. After playing against Magnetic Refraction, I'm 100% in agreement that this is a fantastic card, and yet I always see Magnetic Refraction, and I do not see this card, and so that's what I'm sitting here going, why? Why am I not seeing this card every time? It can't be bad, so why
maybe
not? And your explanation,
maybe people just forgot.
I was like,
about
your
it.
explanation is as good as any, right? The people just, there's a communal understanding that you don't play Cabal, or you don't play MODOK to protect your people. But gosh, that this card isn't so strong. I was really ready to give it an 8, and you guys started having this conversation. I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute, why have I never once seen this card get played? I didn't play it when I played MODOK. I've never seen it played.
Well, I'm not as a shot at you, but I mean, you haven't exactly played against that many people. So if the majority of your games are against Jeremy and Jeremy doesn't play it, then that's more of a Jeremy issue than a meta issue. What do you think? We need a 7 or an 8?
I'm going to give it a 7.
4.
I'm actually going to give it a 7, and the reason I'm going to give it a 7 is because it's on MODOK. It's 3 power on MODOK. That's my tiebreaker. 3 power on MODOK.
Well, Parker's off the podcast
Again?
Again, he's out.
Is this going to be the running joke?
All right.
Parker gets booted off the podcast again.
All right. So 7 it is. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. We didn't actually run super long today. It's just that we have like an hour-long pre-ramble in there. I guess I'm going to cut that down a bit. But I don't know why. We always take us forever to rate stuff. We only got like 10 cards in today. Oh, well. Just means there's more content for next time. I know we went super quick on some of these. And then others we definitely talked about because I thought there was interesting discussion. Alrighty. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy. And Humans Suck.
And thank you for listening to The Gang Joins OnlyFans.
Did Parker do it right?
I did.
Probably not.
I did it very right.
Or is he
I
podcasting?
did it the most right.
Parker, are you podcasting?
I'm podcasting right now.
Cool. Are you in the bathtub?
So, no, I'm not. You can see me. I'm in.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
I didn't know if this was a
I'm not
previously recorded or what we were.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like Ocean's 13. I've already. I've made this a long time ago just to make it look like it.
Did you see the there was a guy that was like tired of doing Zoom meetings, and so he wrote a software that would go to meetings for him.
Oh my
So
god!
He recorded it him because he's on Zoom. He just took a bunch of his pre-recorded he recorded his Zoom meetings, and so he would cut up his video into like different responses. And then it would do this video blending, and so there would be like idle him just sitting there watching the camera, and then based on questions that it asked him, the computer would find a common response based on that. So he'd use like AI to interpret what they were saying.
That is so awesome.
And it would just play a video of whatever he was doing. And so over a course of a month, he worked on this because they weren't doing anything because it was all work from home crap. And so, there's a video of it. And he does like an hour-long Zoom meeting, and he's there watching the program work, but he's not actually on the call. And at the end of it, he plays the pre-recorded message of him telling everybody that it's a pre-recorded system and explaining how the thing works, and then like joins the Zoom call as himself. And so there's 2 instances of him in the call.
Oh my
one
God.
of them is the AI, and one of them is him, and they can't figure out which one is which.
That's awesome.
So, Parker, how do you feel?
How
do you feel?
Oh, how's my health right now? It's great.
No, emotionally. I don't care about how you are physically.
Oh, I'm a little unstable. Why?
Okay. I figured you'd be very depressed.
Why? What happened?
Well, 2 reasons. First off, we kicked you off the podcast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Second of all, that you basically wasted all of that money on the other models you purchased for this game, because obviously you're only going to play Iron Fist from now on. Just Iron Fist and nothing else.
Is that what?
Yeah, so you paid all the money for all those models, and you paid money to have them painted, and you're just going to play a 3-point model from now on, because that's all you need. You got a chip and a chair, that's all you need. It's just going to be shirtless Iron Fist flexing on bros for the rest of time.
I hope so. I'll fucking kill that motherfucker every day. Many, many times, over and over and over and over.
Why are people just like? Are people got hate boners for this guy already?
Nah,
I have no idea because I don't go to these sadist websites that just talk about Iron Fist all day. I figured you did though.
No,
that's your OnlyFans. Is it just you talking about Iron Fist all day?
Hi everybody.
Guys.
Here's Iron Fist. I painted his pants gray.
I mean, you guys are in my wheelhouse, but no, I don't. I haven't talked about it.
We're getting there. What about Power Man? What about Power Man? His power. He has a Power Man punch.
I do like that they put Power Man in this card. I do like that they put the words in this card.
We knew you would.
I keep calling him Power.
His card actually says Power Man.
Yeah,
It says Power Man
called
Punch.
Power Man Punch.
No, his name is Luke Cage.
His name is Luke Cage.
By the way,
Yeah.
when right now, I'm writing up the news in the list, and I put Power Man card first, and I deleted it and put Luke Cage card because I knew you motherfuckers were gonna be like, he's not Power Man.
You better not fucking say Power Man even
To
one
me,
time.
he is Power Man, and he will always be.
Not
Power
even one
Man.
time. Listen, that was a long time ago. Now he.
If they wanted to make Power Man, they would have given him an afro. Just saying.
He does not have an afro. Do you? That's it, right? The two cards.
Yeah, that's it.
Jeremy thought he remembered some tactics cards. I'm looking on their website.
I don't think we talked about like Cat and Mouse, or did we talk about those? There's some X-Force cards. There's tactics cards.
I think that was last week, wasn't it?
I don't remember us talking about tactics cards.
The Cable and Domino cards.
Maybe we did, and I was
Dirty
just
work.
drunk. I don't know.
Dirty work and Cat and Mouse. That was it. It is. Those came out.
I don't remember these. Did we?
This came
let
out
me
March 26th is when it was released. Is the information was released? I'm looking at it right now.
That would have been
That would have been
last Saturday.
No.
Sorry, last Friday. That would have been after the podcast.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about those.
No, it absolutely was before the podcast. You made a podcast on the 31st. March 31st was your last podcast, and March 26th is when the Team Tactics.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong month.
So do you want me to add them to the news? You don't remember?
I don't know if we talked about these. I'm
think
trying
we
to
did.
find the cards. Show me the cards.
Okay, I can show them to you. Put them on ye old chat, podcast, chat. Boom. There they are.
Recalibration Matrix. We've definitely talked about this one.
Yeah, but being reprinted, did you mention that? Because it's reprinted, obviously.
No.
Then
No,
you
yeah, we didn't talk about these.
Okay, I'll put it in the news.
By the way, I do think Dirty Work is one of the worst tactics cards ever made. It's the bottom.
What? I don't know if that's actually possible.
Look, hot take right.
I think
now.
if you printed a blank card, it would be better than Heave Ho.
No, Heave Ho does something. Dirty Work
I
makes
don't
you
think
spend
that's
power to maybe do nothing.
But by playing Heave Ho, that means you're objectively bad at the game.
Correct. By playing
Because where
Dirty
a
Work.
blank card would be like a handicap because you thought you were good
Just
at the
wait. We'll fucking talk about this bitch in a
game.
bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dirty
it
Work
is,
is a bad card.
It is really, really bad value. The word is value.
It's a bad card.
bad value.
Bad. Also, X-Force is a problematic whole situation. Like, I don't understand what they're up to. Like, I feel like there's two characters
They
missing.
seem really bad. Yeah.
No,
Like,
they are.
seem like they're missing like the MODOK of their
Yeah.
faction.
No, they're like
they need.
no, they're bad. They're bad.
So Wolverine confirmed X-Force character.
I think so. I'd be amazed.
He's on the back of an X-Force card.
Yeah, I would be absolutely.
I would think so.
I would be absolutely amazed if he was not an X-Force. Also, I'd be amazed if they don't make an X-23 eventually. Very.
That's
oh, yeah,
the
I think
rumor.
she's coming.
I've heard about that. There's chat about that.
Yeah.
She's on multiple cards now, isn't she?
I don't know about that.
Does 23? I had heard Psylocke is on one of these cards. Are we?
Yes, she is on an Uncanny X-Men
I
card.
believe that is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, so Dirty Work is not good.
Recalibration we already had. Dirty Work is a hot flaming bag of shit, and Cat and Mouse is a thing. I mean, it's not really
I don't even think you would play Dirty Work
ever,
in a limited format.
ever.
Yep.
No, like a limited format. Do you know what I mean?
No.
If
Do
you
you know
said
what
you
a
can only
limited
play
format
something.
is?
Explain what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean.
Okay, limited format in games means time restricted. So they've already pre-engineered the game to go into time restricted game formats. And so in the bottom right hand of the cards, there's a little X-Men symbol or a Spider-Man symbol.
I understand
The
what you mean.
Spider-Man symbol is phase 1, the
Yeah.
X-Men symbol is
Okay,
phase 2.
I gotcha.
So even if you said we're running a phase 2 tournament, I don't think you play Dirty Work.
No, you're better off not doing
Which is
anything.
ridiculous, because only like 10% of the cards are in phase 2.
You're better off not doing anything. I mean, who has? Also, which character in X-Force is harboring the amount of power to spend on dirty work. I mean, oh God, okay.
Deadpool.
Let's just no. I mean,
It's Deadpool. He doesn't spend a lot of power.
he's also probably fucking dazed. I mean, like, let's be
Maybe.
honest.
It's just
It's
a
weird
horrible,
that it
horrible
has to
value.
be an X-Force character and then also X-Force characters. But like, why does it cost 3? That should cost 1.
Yeah, it's
And even if
stupid.
it costs 1, it wouldn't
Yep.
be great.
Yeah, spending
It could
3.
be free and still not be good.
Yes, even if you got everything to happen, if you spent 3, you're going to give out what, like 6? Like,
If it didn't say this round, it might be good.
yeah.
If you could just play it on turn 1 with some random character, then sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Super duper bad.
KO'd by an X-Force allied character.
Yeah.
That is really bad.
I mean, and we're not even playing, like, we don't even play around here the one that takes away healing because it's so random to happen.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to happen? Right.
Yeah, like if they die to bleed, you don't get it. Like that's super dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Also, they don't get dazed by collateral, do they? That's a game mechanic, not an ability on your card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you get it from throwing something at them. Yeah, I don't get that at all. That's so weird. I wouldn't play that if it was just allied character. I mean, and they made it so specific.
This card's gonna get errated because the wording isn't even correct. It should say days are KO'd this round by an allied X-Force character's effect. It doesn't say that. It says by a character, which isn't defined. I think this card's getting errated either way, but it's still going to be bad. This is also like a spoiler, so who knows if that's the final wording. They might have just somebody uploaded the wrong text to the image. And last question, is this the same wording on Recal, which I assume it is. Yeah, same wording.
So what's our topic this week? What are we doing?
We are rating more tactics cards, which will be fun considering we're going to talk about these.
Okay.
Here's a little movie trivia for you guys that just popped up when I was looking at Marvel stuff. Did you know that in 1998, when Marvel was facing bankruptcy, a single event made $131 million in profits and basically created like the profit diagram that Marvel continued to use making movies? Guess the movie that made $131 million.
Iron Man.
Nope.
What
Iron
is
Nope.
Blade?
It's Blade. Yeah. Blade 1. Blade 1 was actually the movie that made Marvel a huge amount of money, saved them from bankruptcy, and then like gave them this out for their IP stuff into movies. It's not part of the cinematic universe, but it was the thing that showed them it was profitable.
They had to borrow money to make Iron Man.
Yes, but
Blade was phenomenal, just so you know.
Yeah, but Blade 1 was great.
Blade 1 was fucking amazing.
But they had
Blade was good.
But Iron Man, they had a reasonable expectation that it was going to be successful. Blade was the thing that helped them with that. Also saved them from bankruptcy. That's pretty cool.
The opening scene in Blade is so good. Like,
yeah.
The nightclub
wow.
scene.
So good.
Yeah, all of Blade 1 was good. Which is why Blade 2 is even better.
Some
I don't know
motherfuckers always
that's
ice skate.
true.
It was just twice as much Blade. Yeah. I'm actually upset that they're remaking that. Like, I can't imagine it's going to be as good as the original. This feels like a Hellboy reboot, where it's like, the original one was good. Why are you fucking with it?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the new Hellboy. It looks so bad.
It's horrible.
It's not good.
It's so bad. It makes me so mad.
The first two are
I also-
really good. Like, I love the first two movies.
I liked the guy from Stranger Things, but why the fuck is he just being shoehorned into everything? Like, for like 6 months, he was like in every older male role there was. And I was just like, I don't get it. Like, why is he Hellboy? Like, is this just because he was in Stranger Things?
I don't know why they did a remake anyway. Like, it didn't make any sense. And it's still, seeing it, it didn't make any sense. Like, it didn't add anything.
If you want to do Hellboy, just get the same people that just did Hellboy.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Ron Perlman is still awesome. Like, he's fine. Like, it's fine.
2 was weaker, but it was fine. The remake was just.
I thought 2
terrible.
was beautiful.
A lot of people actually say 2 was the better one.
I thought they both were amazing. I love both of them.
Yeah, the
but I love-
cinematography in 2 was really impressive.
But the director, like, that guy is so cool. Like, he just makes monster movies, and they're fucking cool, and they're just visually amazing.
Hellboy had this way of pulling off super cheesy, over the top like aesthetics and making them look realistic and have gravitas. Like Ron Perlman just standing there as Hellboy doesn't look stupid. Like,
I know,
and
he should,
right? Like he's a giant red like lizard man with goat horns, and he's wearing a trench coat, and everyone thinks he looks badass. Like,
oh yeah,
like how did they do that?
in the opening scene, even where the one was like the kid version, which looks dumb as fuck, but you're like, oh, he's kind of cool. Like, he's kind of cool. He's cute. Whatever. Like, my boys are even like,
go to the Dark Knight
cool.
and just take Batman out of context, put him on a street corner, and be like, "This is Batman. He looks stupid as fuck." like nobody thinks that looks cool in daylight. It only looks cool when he's beating people up. Like, but you get Hellboy, he'd be standing in line at the DMV, and you're like, "This is Hellboy." Like, you got it exact. Where it's like, I was actually. Did you guys watch Winter Soldier yet? The newer one.
I have not.
The one from last week. Anyway, Zemo's in it. Surprise. Yeah. They tell you he's in it, but. Like, I thought I was mad because they got the coat wrong for Zemo. I'm like, that's not Zemo's coat. Like, I was yelling at the TV. I was like, that's not Zemo's coat. And it's very minor changes. But it was like the color on the frill was off. I'm like, that's not Zemo's coat. I'm like, how did someone in wardrobe mess this up? Like, the attention to detail is not there. And, like, I was mad. That didn't happen in Hellboy 1 and 2. I'm just saying.
Somebody was like, in what world do we live in where people love Zemo and fucking hate the new Captain America? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to hate the new Captain America.
Oh yeah, even my boys who are 9 years old are both like, he looks stupid.
Yeah. Well, they shoot it. They shoot the scenes to make him look like the villain.
He looks like an ass.
Like, even the first scene you see him in, it's shown to be like, this is an antagonist. Like, you're supposed to hate this person.
He's like, my boys are like, I don't like him. I'm like, okay, I know, it'll be okay.
It won't be okay.
It'll be okay.
Did you guys ever watch True Blood?
I watched all of it, yeah.
You watched all of True Blood? Wow.
I've watched all of True Blood.
I have not.
Okay,
I know of
probably a good choice.
I can give you a summary of the
I have
series
watched a lot of True Blood, so don't think I'm just hating on the show. I actually enjoy a lot of the show, but there's parts of the show I just cannot handle. But one of my favorite parts in all of True Blood is when I think her name is Jessica, Bill's sire, daughter, whatever, the
she's
vampire he makes.
Yeah, she's hot.
Yeah, no, she is super hot. She plays the girl on Daredevil, the secretary girl.
Oh yeah.
Okay. She's a great actress. I like her a lot. But anyway, he's showing her how to use her vampire powers for the first time, and they're in a hotel room, and they get stopped at some point by a security guard. So he hypnotizes the security guard with his vampiric gaze and brings him into the room so he won't go call the cops. We lost Jeremy. Jeremy can't click buttons again.
I clicked it. Fucking missed it. What?
Anyway, so they're sitting in the room and Bill needs to make a phone call. So he's like, all right, you sit here, talk to the guy, and like practice your hypnotic gaze or whatever, and I'll be back in a minute. And so she hypnotizes him, and she's like, it's all going to be okay. He's like, it's all going to be okay. And she's like, it's not going to be okay. And he's like, it's not going to be okay. And he starts having this like psycho panic attack because he's been hypnotized into thinking the whole like everything is wrong. And Bill comes back, and the dude is like sweating and freaking out. And he's like, what happened? Everything's going to be okay. He's like, no, it's not going to be okay. And he's like, what did you do to him? Like, it was like the best scene of the entire show. It's just like this guy having a stroke on the couch because she's like mind fucked him into being a psycho. It was great.
Have you?
I can just imagine, like, if vampires are real, something like that would obviously happen at some point. So I thought that was a really good scene.
How far have you gotten into that?
Oh, I haven't watched any in a while. Is it still going?
No. It's only 5 seasons.
Oh, then shit, I might have watched all of it then.
You might have. So you got.
I watched at least 4 seasons.
So you got to the young guy who's like 2,000 years old, and he's like an Egyptian like vampire or whatever. Like the really really old one who's like a kid. Did you get to him?
That's what the fuck is this? Eric? That's Eric's sire, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw the scene where he dies, but that was like a flashback.
Huh.
Was it? Oh no, that happened.
No, there's a whole time when he's around.
Okay, I haven't seen that stuff then.
Okay.
I saw the scene where he dies, but maybe we're talking about different people.
No, he's a young guy. He's got a giant tattoo on his back, and he's like 2,000 years old. He's one of the oldest vampires of all of them. His whole storyline is really, really cool. Like, when you get to that, that's about the peak of the season, of the entire series. Because after that,
I thought...
like, everybody has a magical unicorn power. And that's what irritates the shit out of me about that whole series, is, like, you find out that vampires aren't the only thing. Everybody can turn into a fucking cheetah, a horse, a fucking ghost witch.
A man cheetah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's why the series blows up. It's irritating as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I had problems, and I don't want to go too much into this because this is going to sound political, but I did not like the conflict resolution in the show, where it's like, you killed my entire family, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to have an affair with your boyfriend. I'm just like, I don't know if that's the way I would handle a situation, but like, it just didn't make sense to me. It's like, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything for Parker, but spoilers, you guys are about to start watching True Blood. But you have a 2,000-year-old Viking, like, prince, and the way he gets back at the vampire who slaughtered his entire family is by sleeping with his boyfriend. I'm just like, I mean, I know it's a whole new age and everything, but, like, there's no way the Viking warlord dude, that's his revenge plot. He waits 500 years for revenge, and it was so he could sleep with the guy's boyfriend. I just couldn't understand the logic there. I was like, I can't follow this.
Yeah, it really jumps the shark at some point. Like, it just becomes real messy and silly. Like, by the time, the last couple seasons were a fucking train wreck. But I did enjoy the first couple seasons. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Suki! I just remember that all the time. Suki!
Oh, yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, it was a weird show. Real weird show. Alright, so that's True Blood.
Yeah. And
it's not really anywhere to go after True Blood.
I know. No. The blood beer. Have some blood beer. You're fine. You'll be fine.
Speaking of shows that are in a superhero podcast, have either of you guys watched Invincible yet?
I have.
Yes.
I love it, and it's fucking amazing.
Okay. I have not yet, and
Parker.
It's on my list of things to do right now, like really soon, and it's the next thing I'm doing. After I get in with this podcast, I'm going to watch Invincible. But for people at home, Invincible is an independent comic series. It's Image, I believe, right? It was
Image Comics. Well, everyone that's not DC or Marvel is independent, right? I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
It's written by the people who did Walking Dead.
Yeah, before Walking Dead.
Yeah, Invincible is a pretty old comic at this point. Spence, friend of the show, Spence is a huge Invincible fan.
Really?
That's exactly that's exactly who told me. He's
diehard Invincible
He
fan.
loves it. Yeah, Invincible was it's Image Comics because apparently the character initially showed up in Savage Dragon. Yeah.
Love the show. I love the new show.
Yeah, very good.
I'm sitting here waiting for the next episode.
It's very loyal to the comic as well. Like very, very loyal to the comic. But I haven't read the comic, so
I haven't either.
I need to read the comic. I bet I would love it.
And just so everyone understands, I do not watch anime and I don't deal with that shit. Like most of the time I'll click on it and look at it and I'm like, this show is like legit. It's got a good storyline. It's really cool, and it's got like it's a great show. It's good.
Yeah.
You mean you don't like anime? You don't like You don't like animated things? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't like anime.
It's not. This is not.
No. It's an American animated show, but you know what I mean. You know what the fuck I mean.
Well, I would. In a similar thing of what Jeremy just said, I would say that I really like the show, and I don't like Indian food, since that's basically the same representation.
Yeah.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
It's like, they're not the same thing, so I don't like fantasies, but I really like Star Trek, so that's not normal for me. And you're like, what? They're not the same thing. They're different.
So, I actually went through this entire conversation with someone recently, and we had to wiki what the fucking anime is, because it got that intense. So an anime...
They're different.
An anime is basically a style of Japanese animation, whether it's made in this country or not. It just looks like... It has a certain look.
Yeah,
right? But they're adult fucking cartoons. Like, sorry. but that's what they are.
But anime can be for kids. I mean,
They make anime.
Okay.
For kids. Just like
Sure,
they make
caveat.
they actually make
American
a
anime.
lot of anime for kids. Yeah.
I watch a lot of adults wear Pokemon shit on themselves. So, okay, whatever.
Now, yeah, if you're like, hey, I really like this anime such and such, like, well, that was made in like Korea, so technically it's not anime.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Shut up, you're an idiot. But like, it's the same. It's meant to be in that genre where it's like Rick and Morty is an anime. It's a cartoon. It's totally different.
True.
I just got done watching an American anime. Like it's done entirely in that style, but made in America. It was really good. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But you could tell
Okay,
it
what
was
is
not
it?
made in Japan. It's a Netflix original. Dota. It's a Dota Dragon's Blood is the name of the anime.
Is it good? I saw that pop up.
I really, really liked it a lot. And
Okay.
the reason why I liked it, I've actually watched a ton of anime from Japan, and I think it did a really good job of borrowing some of my favorite parts of anime from Japan. And it's a very American story, and they leave a lot of the anime like animation quirks and tropes behind. They just basically are using the art style and the attention to animation like detail. They also weave computer animation into it really well. Some cartoons do not. The story was also provocative and interesting. The only thing about it that I will say that is very, very, very anime is an anime thing that the anime uses is they will front load a whole universe's worth of backstory. They'll like universe build in the first 20 minutes, the first 20 seconds of the first episode. And so, and that's
Okay.
and this show does that too. As soon as I hit the go button, the very first thing it said, in eons past, there was chaos, and then there was good, and good battled chaos until the Aeon gods showed up, and the Aeon gods founded Anuthria, and Anuthria had the five, and you're like, whoa, and then it was like, Dota, Dragon's Blood, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is, and
Yeah.
I told myself for a second, I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was an American anime, and so as soon as but then I went, wait a minute. I'm not going to immediately turn it off because of how revolting that like info dump just was. I'm just going to watch. And it was only like 20 seconds worth of nonsense words spat at me with a kaleidoscope of colors. And then I just watched the show. And I think one of the reasons why they did that and they felt okay with that is it's based on Dota the game, right? So
Yeah.
the universe is from the Dota game. It's very much that universe, and so they assume some things about the Watcher that they just already know what the universe is like, because like they use gods' names and stuff like that. And I'm like, and then place names, and you're just supposed to go with it. And I think it's because people who know the video games recognize that stuff in the show. However, I actually love that method of storytelling where you don't tell anybody about anything. You just assume everybody knows what everything is, because it makes the dialogue much more believable. So there was not a scene where somebody sits down and talks.
The entire first season isn't just exposition.
Right. There's not a scene around a fire where somebody goes, "I'm from this valley, and we had this war 500 years ago, and here's everything that happened in my valley since 500 years ago that pertains to the plot." And you're like, this is bullshit. This didn't actually happen in real life. So none of that happens in this show. Instead, it's a lot about the characters and I think the whole first season is it just came out, and the first season just is only like 11 or 12 episodes, and I am like jonesing. I am really jonesing to find out what happens next.
That sounds kind of similar to something that Spence told me. I think it's about Invincible, but he talks about a lot of weird anime comic stuff, so it might have been from a different series. So spoilers maybe for Invincible, but he talks about this character called Battle Beast.
Do not spoil Invincible.
It's not in the show yet, so I haven't seen it. I don't even know that it is from Invincible.
Oh, okay.
But the character is basically just this. He's Rengar from League of Legends. He's a lion man, so he's got like a lion head and mane, and he's like white fur everywhere, and he's like a humanoid feline monster. And he's just like this super dangerous killing machine. But when he introduced him, he's like, "I am Battle Beast. I am from the blah 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 galaxy." And he just goes into his complete backstory every time he meets somebody, and so everyone just like gets 10 seconds to be like, "Shut up! I don't care," and they just move on. So he never gets to finish his backstory. So you don't know where he's from or what he's done because everyone's like, "Shut up! I'm done with this." Like,
that's not from Invincible. There's no way.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't fit. Yeah. That's not from.
But yeah, he just goes around. He's like, "I'm looking for someone to challenge because I'm the leader of the 7 universes."
That sounds like
"Shut up! we're done. I'm not talking to you anymore. Go stand over there.
That
He's
sounds
okay.
like One Punch Man, to be honest. That's a One Punch Man.
It sounds a lot like One Punch Man.
Where they're like, he drew circles on my nipples. You're like, what?
I thought you didn't like anime. You watch One Punch Man?
Yes.
He's like, yeah, but One Punch Man is good.
Yes, it is.
It is good. Did you watch Attack on Titan?
I didn't watch that. Is it good?
You should watch that. That's
Yeah?
the next logical step from One Punch Man. It's very serious, as where One Punch Man is very joking. It's very lighthearted. But the best thing about One Punch Man is it just cuts out all the anime bullshit and you get to the best parts of anime. It's like anime abridged.
It is
So
true.
you just like,
I would agree with that assessment, but if I was going to tell somebody who doesn't like anime to watch something in anime, I would say to watch Cowboy Bebop, is what I would say. That is the most...
Cowboy Bebop's fairly slow, but yeah, it is really good.
It's the most Western anime I think I've ever seen.
The coolest thing I ever saw, anime-wise, and this was a bunch of years ago, so don't judge me for being old.
Akira?
So, no.
Akira?
Ninja Scrolls was
Okay.
the most fucking awesome thing I ever saw.
Oh, God.
It blew my fucking mind, and I
Ninja
still
Scrolls was
quote
fun.
it to this day to people who have no idea what I'm saying. It's so good.
How long? This was more than 10 years ago?
Oh my god.
came out
Ninja
in
Scrolls is like
1993.
20 years ago.
Yeah, it came out in
No, I'm
1993.
asking when you saw it. I know it's old.
Oh, like 20 years ago.
I'm just wondering if you rented this for your kids or not.
No, Lord. Oh my god.
Most people I know
don't
that
mind
have seen
raping a
Ninja
dead
Scroll, their parents rented it for them from Blockbuster, and they were like, "Holy shit!" Like, it's like they did
Oh.
not know how to. They didn't want to tell their parents what it was, so they just acted like it was
That's
a normal
funny.
cartoon.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
Mom,
that
I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
watch this
That's funny.
upstairs.
You fall victim to the throat needle. Like, all those are so good. Like, I don't mind raping a dead girl. You're like, oh my god. Really?
Yeah, it gets
Jesus.
real serious real
It's-
fast.
Oof. Ooh. Yeah. No.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, I really like Attack on Titan. The thing about Attack on Titan is you have to make it to, I want to say it's episode 5.
I heard
So
there's
just
a turn.
watch 5 episodes,
I heard
and
there's a
if
twist.
you
Yeah.
get through episode 5 and you don't want to watch the show anymore, then fine, good, whatever. That's cool. But I don't see how that's possible.
I'll check it out. Sure.
And that's
The
actually
first
what else...
4 episodes are just all character building, and then episode 5 happens. You're like, oh, this is the show. Okay, totally different.
And that's actually what I'll say about the Dota show. That's one thing that I was telling my brother, actually, I was talking about it, is that show, if you get past that 20 seconds of weird-ass intro, like universe dump, it is, you have to spend about 15 seconds after that, and you're in the middle of the story. Like, they drop you in so hard. There was no warm-up. There was no, like, let's go ahead and meet this character who's just walking into a sleepy town. No. It starts with dragons eating people. You're like, wow, how many people is this dragon going to eat in the first minute of this show? And it's like a dozen. And then the main character shows up and fights the fuck out of it. And you're like, wow, this is a really in-depth... Am I supposed to know who this guy is already? Like, what? What's going on? And then, like, it drops you in. It's not in media res. It's like, that's the beginning of the story. And then you just start to learn from there. It was really amazing how that show just dropped you in so hard. I love fantasy like that. Neuromancer was for those of you guys who don't know, Neuromancer, if anybody likes sci-fi, Neuromancer rewrote like what's acceptable in fantasy and sci-fi. It was written by, oh no, it makes me so mad that I forget who wrote this. Neuromancer was written by William Gibson. He hates that he wrote Neuromancer because he was a failed writer. He had no idea what he was doing. He was trying to make dime store novel trash just so he could sell it. He was going to starve to death. And he wrote this book called Neuromancer, and now it's considered to be like maybe the seminal work in science fiction of all time. And the point of Neuromancer, or the reason why everybody loves it so much, is it has absolutely zero exposition. It takes place in America in the far future, where the language has completely evolved into like a different kind of colloquial. They still use articles and verbs, but every noun and pronoun makes no fucking sense, and they never explain a goddamn thing. It's a whole novel where you just have to hold on for the ride, and there are entire chapters where you're not exactly sure what's even going on, because he's using their dialogue to explain everything that's going on. So even when he's giving exposition, like when he's telling you what a character does to move from point A to point A has a name that doesn't make any sense, and point B is a pronoun that you never heard of before. And he never cuts corners. He just does that all the time. It's almost like...
It sounds like he just wrote a book and then used the find all and replace.
Yeah, like that's kind of like what it was. And
he's like, instead of
right.
Subway, use BuzzTube, and just like auto replace the entire book.
Yep.
And he's like, eat this, you fuckers.
Yeah. It almost, the first time you start to read it, you're like, this seems like nonsense, almost, like it was written in another language. But then you realize, like, oh no, there are rules here. But it's like you're reading Tolkien. It's like you're reading Lord of the Rings in Elvish. Like that's what, that's what it is. And so,
no, it's like watching the holiday special.
No.
Because it's all in Wookiee.
The Star Wars holiday,
and there's no subtitles.
Oh shit! But no, that's what Dota reminded me of, because they just drop you in the middle of it. Go, just like go. Deal with it. Just deal with it. Just watch. Deal with it. You'll figure it out later. Just deal with it. I really love that kind of storytelling. That's my favorite. I really don't like when a movie starts with legends tell you that 30 years ago there was a. I'm like, no, fuck that. Don't tell me that. Just let me go. Just let me watch it. I'll figure this thing out if it's important.
The one thing I always appreciate about animated anything is how precious their time and energy is in creating a show like that. So you're like, okay, all of this must be important because they spent hours just to create a minute. So like, I appreciate that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus. I'm going to try and finish it. I'm going to try and catch up. I'm going to try and see what's going on. Because seriously, like, you can't take anything for granted when it comes to that shit. Because it did take so much work to get there.
All right. I'm going to get some more water and pee, and then we'll get started.
Okay, then.
Get your shit.
You get your shit.
So do you have COVID?
No.
So you're just a bitch? You got all tuckered out from a shot?
I was really bad that night. But next day I was 100% ready to go. And I say bad, it was just like waves of headache and like chills from a light fever. But
that's just me all the time, though.
Hold on right now.
I remember when I was playing War Machine too much, and I would told somebody that, you know that headache you get when you've been awake for like 30 hours? I had that for like 3 months solid, and then it just went away. I didn't change my sleep patterns. They were like, "You're probably dying." It's like, what's the problem?
You just angered it out of your system. You're just like,
yeah, I just didn't. I slept 3 hours a night for 6 months. It was no big deal.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, I really like that a lot. It's album art. It's a Metallica album art. It's called Mace Metallica, Ride the Lightning, and it's a picture of Mace Windu getting like carried away.
Nice.
I really like everything about that. Okay, I'm gonna put this. I don't know what's actually gonna. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna take this out of here. Oh yes, it worked. Oh yes. Okay. So this is an. I hope it. I hope it's an Onion article. It might just be something from Imgur, but I'm gonna see if I can find it. But the headline was new silver coated pouch terrier introduced in the AKC. Take a look at the silver coated pouch terrier. Let's put it in the podcast channel.
I saw it.
That makes me so happy.
I'm laughing because I don't know why you're laughing.
I just love the thought of that thing on a leash.
Pouch terrier.
The silver coated pouch terrier.
What's the TV show where the guy has a possum and thinks it's like a cat?
Oh.
I think it's Parks and Rec, and Andy's like dumpster diving, and he's like gone blind because he had his like pupils dilated. And he's like, no, it wasn't that. What was it? Someone's like petting a possum like it's a cat. He's like, I love my new cat. I can't remember. I remember this scene, but I can't remember what it's from.
Don't know.
So Parker, are you good to game yet? Are you good to game?
Game? No.
Oh.
I am not good to game yet. I will.
How long? We got like 3 days? 4 days?
I will tell you. Sarah and I are going out into the world again. I think it's May 3rd. I will be technically inoculated next Tuesday, but we're waiting to go out until Sarah's also done.
Okay. Is there a higher risk of like vaccine complications with high risk people? I assume there would be.
No, they haven't seen any correlation between high risk folks. The only thing they've seen is that the second dose and the first dose can have more complications if you've already had COVID. Like you have a more intense reaction if you've already had COVID once.
That's odd.
That's the only correlation.
I think it'd be like the other way around.
No, it makes some sense, right? Because you're a fever and a headache, aches and pains. Those are all your body's reaction to the presence of the virus. So if your body has the virus again, then you're feeling the presence of it. So also it's an mRNA vaccine, which is, which I'm sure I do not know all the biochemical physics of it, but probably has something to do with its reaction to the body. Because it's not the virus. It's the mRNA signature of the virus.
I think I've probably seen more people vaccinated than anyone in like the entire state at one time. And basically what it amounts to is you're sick like the day after the shot and then it's all fine.
Yep.
That's kind of the thing. I mean, that's 99.9%. We had one chick had asthma and lots of problems, like just a sickly type person. And she came up with a lot of reasons why she was extra sickly and took a couple extra days off. But that was the only one of like the 99 residents and the 50 employees. Like it's all been fine. So we're going to do cards today. Is that the deal?
Yep. Doing cards.
Cards.
You guys should probably pull up the document if you haven't yet.
Oh, this is cool. When did this happen?
You're just going to browse Reddit all episode, tell us what's cool.
No, this isn't Reddit, but this is interesting. So in Cairo, they were moving a bunch of very famous mummies from one museum to the other. Just like they're just moving them because the old museum they're doing something with it.
Yeah.
And so they decided to hold a royal parade for them, like from the one museum to the other. So rather than just like carry them in trucks, they made these like basically like a parade with like King Amhotep and Nefertiti and like just like every like so you could see who they were in the caskets as they were moving, and you could just go to the parade if you wanted to.
I expect to be paraded around 4,000 years from now.
Yeah.
just in case anyone's wondering.
That's what you want?
Just jot that down.
Yes. I did ask in my will to be mummified, which is going to be rough.
Mm-hmm.
People are not going to be ready for that.
It's going to be rough.
They're like, we think he wants to be cremated. Let's just read the will. And they're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man. I got to put that little thing up his brain and stuff. Gross.
Oh, crap.
Oh, that's your response? Aw, crap.
He's been making pots for a while. I didn't know what they were for, but apparently they're for his guts.
Making little clay pots.
Exactly.
You've been in one of those the little pottery barn, not a pottery barn, those little pottery places where you have to make plates and stuff. Like, what are you making there, Jeremy? It's like, is that a little urn with the Eye of Horus on top? Yeah,
just jars. Yeah, just jars. Jars for my entrails. No big deal.
Why do you need to learn Sanskrit? No reason. So inscribe some stuff on some jars.
What is that you're putting on that little jar there? Oh, that would be Anubis. Huh. Why Anubis, Jeremy? Oh, I just like Anubis.
It's just my favorite. My favorite.
Oh, Parker, are you reading anything right now?
No, but didn't you say there was? I had a vague memory. I was walking down the street the other day. This is weird. I was walking down the street and on a sidewalk, and I was like, "This is exactly where I listened to." I had this like instant memory of listening to Critical Failures on the sidewalk, pushing around Regina, and I was like, "Wait a minute! Didn't Brandon tell me there was a new Critical Failures that I haven't listened to yet?" Or am I crazy? Or did we just have a conversation about it and we confirmed that I had already listened to it?
You read it before I did. I just read it this last week.
That's right. Okay. Was that what it's...
I was too busy reading all the mutant and Marvel books I had purchased.
So House of X is the thing, right? That's what it's called. That's the thing.
House of M? Is that what you're talking about? Oh no, you're talking about House of X. Hold on. It's
House of X, Powers of X.
That's it. That's right. House of X, Powers of X. That's the new super, super good one. I love it.
Yeah, so my kids are very much into action figures. So there's some really awesome new ones called like House of X, like X-Men and all that shit. They're really cool.
No.
And they're going to break them all, and it's going to upset me.
But you totally felt not guilty at all when you bought them. You're like, I'm going to check these out first.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the badass, like every McFarlane toy ever made. I'm like, yep, finally buying all those.
But anyway, I was going to tell you should start reading the Lazarus Codex. It's like Dresden Light. I think we talked about this. I don't know for a fact that he's just blatantly ripping off Dresden, but it feels like it. So there's this modern wizard living in a large large city in America. He's a wizard. He has a private detective's license, and he works closely with a police detective who is short and no nonsense, takes her job very seriously, and they have this will they won't they dynamic going on. And then also he has this complicated relationship with a fairy princess who's one of the courts, and then this other stuff happens.
You're making this up.
And no, it's a real thing. I told you about this before. You must have forgotten. And I just started listing things that were like just uncanny similar about the two novel series. And you're like, yeah, that guy's getting sued.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. But it's a small genre, so it's like there's not a lot of places to go. But yeah, you should. There's a mortician they work with who is quirky and nerdy. It's creepy, like similar. Like he has to have just blatantly ripped off Dresden. But anyway, it's not as good as Dresden, but it has like a unique spin on it because the guy is in Louisiana. So he's a necromancer. He's specifically a necromancer. But doesn't like raise the dead on a common basis. He's more of like an ectomancer from the Dresden series. Mm-hmm. So he more talks to spirits and stuff. But anyway, it has a lot of the same tropes that Dresden has, and a lot of similar writing styles. It, like I said, it's not as good, but it's probably like 60% of Dresden, which means it's still pretty good. But there's like 5 or 6 of those books on my Audible as well. You should read.
What's it called?
The Lazarus Codex. The guy's name is Lazarus.
Okay. There's something about that kind of blatant similarity. It sticks in my craw.
Just start reading the first book. Yeah. No, I get that, but it kind of scratches the itch of waiting for the next Dresden book.
Mm.
But yeah, I remember when Battlegrounds came out, I basically just laid in my room reading the book for like 8 hours solid. And I don't think I've done that. Usually I listen to audiobooks or I read them when I'm basically bored and have nothing to do. But almost always in audio format, so I can do other things at the same time. And I don't think I've ever just sat there like, it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm just going to sit in a room with the lights off and listen to an audiobook for like the next 6 hours. I've never been that into a book. I'm just like, I'm just going to sit here and nothing's going to interrupt me. I'm going to lock my door. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm just going to listen to this book for the next 8 hours.
Yeah. God, it's so good.
I could not move. I didn't even want to go get food. I was just so in the book.
It's amazing.
And I hadn't slept for like 30 hours at the point. Because, like, I get off work at midnight, book releases at 2 a.m. And then it was 5 p.m. the next day. I'm still listening to the book. Like, I have to finish this.
That sounds healthy.
Shut up. You're healthy. Jeremy, when you get a choice to listen to Dresden Files books or be healthy, it's an obvious choice.
I think it is healthy. I think consumer.
I would cut off my left pinky to hear the entire Dresden Files series, like right now.
Oh, jeez.
Like start to finish. If I could time travel, I would lose a finger to listen to the rest of the Dresden Files books right now.
What?
Or at least 2 toes, probably more.
Oh, jeez. I would not lose appendages.
That sounds like a strong recommend. Okay.
And then I would just spoil all of it for Parker. I would spoil all the books for Parker.
I would clearly let you cut
you're...
off your hand for me to listen to a book. I would let you.
Not even a Dresden Files, just a book.
A book. Any book. Any book would do.
By the way, I am looking at those action figures you said.
Mm-hmm.
They do look really cool.
They are cool.
Parker's gonna have action figures on his shelf next
Why
episode.
do they have... Why do they all have, like, pieces of something else in them?
Because the fucking Marvel ones, and also DC does this, they release a set of models, and to get the big model, you have to buy all of the small models to build.
That's what I was telling you about. I bought the series that came with a Sentinel, and so when I bought all 5 of them, I could build the Sentinel.
Yeah. So the Batman one comes with Bane. Bane's your big badass. I don't know who the X-Men was. I wasn't paying attention.
It's a Sentinel from the future in the comics. Or it's the year 1000 Nimrod Sentinel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't looking at it.
I can see what it is eventually. Where's the torso of the thing though? Oh, I see where the torso is. It's in hers. Okay. Favorite part of this is they're using the Krakoan mutant language for all of the character names. I really love that.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. The character
I just like the white Magneto is pretty cool.
Yep, that's his new costume. Yeah, but yeah, they're using the Krakoan language, which is actually a language they've written down. But yep, they've actually used it for all the characters, which is tight. That's cool. Cool little House of M nod.
Yeah, they've really gotten pretty advanced in those action figures. Like, McFarlane did that first with all those highly detailed crazy shit.
The spawns,
you're like, oh man, like these can be crazy cool. And then NECA took over and did some really neat shit. So now they all kind of had the capacity to like make these badass models, like these badass like action figures. They're really cool, but they're super expensive. They're very expensive to have your 9-year-old boys break all their parts off and just be like, this hand fell off. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, wow.
All right. We better get started. This is going to take forever if we don't get started.
Okay.
What do we
Mark,
take forever?
ready?
We're going fast. Fast hands, right? Fast hands. Let's do it.
All right, so when you do the summaries on the cards, either read them verbatim or super shorthand them.
Okay.
All right.
What What order are you going in on these cards?
The order of the spreadsheet.
The order spreadsheet. So the next one is Acute Senses.
Nope.
Okay. Which ones have you read?
Next
I
one.
see.
Next one's
So
well-laid plans.
Well-laid plans. Got it. I see it.
Yep.
Cool. That's good.
So topical.
How do you spell OnlyFans? Is it 2 words or is it 1 word with
I
a
have no
dash?
idea.
I don't know.
I
Just
don't
click
know.
on your history.
All right, I'll just go to my favorites.
Go click on your history.
I don't know how to spell it. It's my home page, so I don't know. Like I've never typed it after the one time.
Just the one time. Save as homepage.
Yeah.
Done.
I just assumed that's what the internet was for, you know.
Oh my god.
All right. I guess spoilers. Don't randomly type that if you don't know what it is. All right. I'm gonna protect John. John, not safe for kids. No kids, John.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's bad. So bad.
All right. Oh man. All right. Well, we have enough rambling for the end, so we could probably go ahead and stop.
Okay, let's do it.
Do you guys have anything you want to talk about before we're done?
Nope. I think we got it all set up.
Nope,
I think we got it. Got it in one.
Alrighty. All right. Let's do our stuff and get out of here. Let me put in a timestamp because I always forget to do the end timestamp. 40. We'll just call it 47. All right. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Huzzah.
And stop.
And stop.